station, 97.3 The Fan. Just coming off of the epic Padres roundtable presented by Epic Wings. I knew I forgot to do something. That was jump on the StreamYard. So I am doing that right now for the people on YouTube. Padres coming off of a loss yesterday. And these off days are great days for us to really diverge into some other topics, but also to diverge and kind of take a breath and evaluate what the Padres have done so far this year. I mean, the Padres have played 30 games now, right? 30 games. They're 19-11. What do we think about the Padres being 19-11 right now in Major League Baseball, despite what some of their numbers might be in all of Major League Baseball?
They should be 20-10 if they called that ball fair. Oh, wait a minute. They won that game. Never mind.
Oh, they won that game. People are so incensed about that still. They're just going to be incensed about it for life. They're just never going to let that go. Does anybody know what happened? And then did the Padres, it'll be like 10 years. It'll be like, yeah, the umpires screwed the Padres. Did they win? I have no idea. I don't remember. 19-11. We talked about this on the roundtable. If you missed any of the roundtables, a good one today. Tony Gwynn Jr. was on with us. It is on our YouTube page at B_SURP. It is on our YouTube page at 97.3 The Fan. It is getting posted currently wherever you get your podcasts. It'll be up not too long from now. So go back, listen to the roundtable. It will re-air again tonight at about 5 o'clock during the last hour of Gwynn and Chris. So we have a lot of great discussions on the roundtable. Now, let's talk about the Padres being 19-11. Gives them the third most amount of wins in all of Major League Baseball. Actually, fourth. Yankees have 20 wins. Braves are 22-9. Dodgers are 20-11. Padres a half game behind LA after both the Padres and the Dodgers lost 2 out of 3. But the debate today, the conversation today, if you want to view it mostly positive or you want to view it mostly negative, was the sense that the Padres are 19-11 despite being not very good in terms of their statistics as a team. Like their bullpen ERA, as Chris Ello mentioned, was a 4.15. That's like one of the worst in all of Major League Baseball. Now, the 10 runs that they gave up to the Diamondbacks on Sunday in the 8th and 9th inning, of course, yeah. Of course. That's going to skew things a little bit. Still early in the season. But the Padres offensively haven't necessarily hit the lights out. And the Padres pitching-wise have been solid, but not something to write home about. And you look at the stars are not starring, and you look at some of the negatives, and you go, how is this team 19-11? But I think you should be really satisfied with the way that they have started this season. Ben Higgins mentioned this Padres team is on a pace to win 100 games. I don't think any of us think they're going to win 100 games, but that's the pace they're on currently right now. So overall, all things considered, even though yesterday's game didn't go the Padres' way and they kind of lost the 2 games to the Cubs in the exact opposite way. They have won a lot of games against the Cubs. They got leads early and blew them late. And on most of their wins this season, they have actually been down early and have had to come back late. But this Padres team, I think, is a good baseball team. I think they're going to put things together as the season goes. I think you're going to see the production out of Manny Machado. I think you're going to see more home runs out of Fernando. I think you're going to see Jake Cronenworth be able to hit above 200 at some point in time. But I think it shows that this team is a gritty team. I think this shows that this team has depth. I think the 19-11 shows that Craig Stammen's doing a good job of having everybody play to their assets and staying involved and staying engaged and knowing that their name is going to be called. So I think all of that is part of this deal with the Padres. I think they're in a pretty good spot right now. Yeah, they lost the series to the Cubs. Their first series lost in April. First series loss in April, which is pretty impressive. They racked up the wins that they needed to do. They're about to start a stretch in May that's pretty difficult going into June, but they got some reinforcements coming back. And I think it's going to help the rotation. I think the bullpen's going to get a little bit better, but right now, I think you're seeing some of that attrition a little bit with, guys in the back end. I think the Padres have done a really good job, and Tony mentioned this too. They've done a really good job with their game plan and applying that on the offensive side as the game goes on and making the adjustments throughout the game. I think they've done a great job doing that. I think they've done a good job of grinding out at bats. I think they've done a great job of passing the baton and being pesky at the plate. I mean, for anybody that thinks that their approach at the plate is awful because they're missing mistakes, the execution is different than the approach. I think the approach is there. I just don't think they've executed every single time. Yesterday, you look at the game, the Padres had a great opportunity to steal one from the Cubs after, going down 3-0. They get contributions from Miguel Andujar. They get contributions from Nick Castellanos. Man, did Nick Castellanos need that home run yesterday? Man, did he need that home run yesterday? Couple of home runs tie the game at 3. Bullpen looks a little tired. Morejon leadoff walks again, hurt you every single time. Eventually, it comes around to score. I know there was a fielder's choice mixed in there where that guy technically did not score, but he put a guy on base. Doesn't really matter. Putting a guy on base is always going to haunt you. Made it 4-3. I think the insurance home run by that Jason Adam allowed, I mean, that kills you 2 out of the bullpen, especially with guys like Morejon and Adam who are, that's the back end that's supposed to be able to shut it down. But I think being used a lot plays a factor. Maybe not so much Jason Adam, but I mean, he's still coming off of injury. But then the Padres load the bases in the 8th inning with nobody out. Fernando misses a home run, but he drives in a run, gets the job done. And unfortunately, I said right before the first pitch to Manny Machado, or before the at-bat, I said, the only thing he has, as long as it's not a double play, it can be productive here. And it was a double play. So the Padres battled with the Cubs. That is a Cubs baseball team that they're going to have to be competing with. They're going to have to compete with it. I mean, this is a team that is going to be a problem throughout the year. They're a good baseball team. You're going to see them in October. You're going to see them again at Wrigley later on. That is a team you're competing for wild card positioning for. But as I mentioned before, there's nothing wrong with the approach. Approach and execution are not synonymous with each other. You have your approach, and whether or not you can execute is a different thing. If you still can't execute, no matter what approach that you do, it doesn't really matter what your approach is if you can't execute. I think the approach is there, and some of the times that they missed on pitches, as Tony said on the roundtable, they're going to hit those. And at the beginning part of the innings, they don't, and near the end of the innings, they do. In the middle later innings, they do. It's a different deal. I mean, there's times where you have your game plan put in place, and your game plan is not the problem. You just don't have players executing. Yesterday, I think you saw some of that, but not a ton. I thought the Padres played hard yesterday. I think yesterday was a frustrating loss at the end of the day because of the fact that the bullpen that has been lights out has given up runs late. But I think you're going to see that. The other thing that Tony brought up that I thought was interesting was, on his 2010 team, the back end of that bullpen was Heath Bell and Mike Adams and Luke Gregerson. And then on other nights, those other pieces that also helped out and close out games later in the year, they were kind of learning how to do that at the beginning part of the season. I think you're seeing that right now with, the quote, the B squad of the bullpen. But overall, Frank, 30 games in, I think you got to be pretty satisfied and pleased with them being 19-11 right now.
Yeah, for sure, especially with how they started. I mean, you start 2-5 and you've completely turned it around. You've only lost 6 games since the opening weekend of the season. So it has been about as good a return to form that you could have possibly imagined. Starting pitching hasn't necessarily been dominant. It's been there. Hitting hasn't necessarily been dominant It's been there. The bullpen has been exactly what we expected it to be. And I mean, you've gotten wins. You've grinded out wins. You've stolen a couple games this year already. You've had a couple of games stolen from you. So you're right where you should be as far as that's concerned, as far as getting lucky as a team in order to win games overall. They're more or less on pace from what they were last year, and they were a really good team last year. So I'm not all that concerned. They're sitting in a very, very good, comfortable spot right now, going towards the month of May.
I thought the discussion was interesting too. How about, I'll get your take on this. You could talk about like which numbers are fooling you. Like Chris mentioned that you look at all the numbers of the offense and the pitching and everything. It's like they are playing better than what those numbers show. And then the caveat to that, of course, is like, as Ben said, he was just playing devil's advocate. He didn't actually believe this, but he said, is it the stats that are is it the offense and pitching numbers that are the numbers that are fooling you, or is it the record that is fooling you? I still think it's the statistics based on some of the players that haven't performed yet, and the fact that they're able to win despite that. I think you look at it a glass half full of when that starts to happen, they're going to win more games. I don't think they're going to, like, as Chris mentioned, they're not going to go like 30-3 over a 33-game stretch. But to me, I don't think the Padres are getting lucky to their 19-11. I think they're winning despite not really playing to their full potential.
Yeah, just looking through some of the team offensive stats right now, you're 13th in runs scored, you're 23rd in hits overall this season. Home runs are low, but you're tied for 21st in home runs. You currently sit 12th, tied for 12th in RBIs. Team batting average, you're currently 21st. On base percentage, you are 27th in on base percentage. Slugging percentage, 15th. OPS, this is the last one, I swear, is 22nd. So you're in the bottom third. You're either in the middle or bottom third in the league in all of the major offensive categories, yet you're 8 games over 500. That is you're winning despite not getting the offensive production that this team is capable of. I think the stats are a lot more deceiving, and those will change, especially when you have guys like Fernando, Merrill, and Manny start to turn it up as the year goes on.
And I think the other part that Tony brought up I thought was interesting, and I agree with this, is, right now the bench and the role players are carrying you. But on top of that, usually like what Chris mentioned was, well, those guys aren't going to be able to carry you for a whole 162. But the caveat was, yes, but none of them are having career years right now. They're just doing their job, right? And I think that goes to what Craig Stammen has done as a manager of keeping them involved. And the spot starts and using them as pinch hitters and using them defensively and using them as pinch runners. I mean, I think Craig Stammen has done a great job of using almost every player on this team almost every single day. And if they don't play and get in the game that day, they're probably starting the next day. I mean, that's how much playing time a lot of these guys have been able to get. Nobody's rotting on the bench. They're still getting reps. I think that goes a long way. I think that goes a long way for this team. I really do. Because it's not like, aside from Luis Camposano, who's off to like just an unbelievable start to the season, everybody else is kind of like just doing their job. And if they can continue that over 162 more so than, I don't think anybody thinks Camposano is going to hit over 340 this year or hit 340, whatever it is.
I'd also clump Miguel Andujar into that. Like, he's having an above average start to his season, but he's really the only other one that I would put in that boat.
But it's not like a super high number. I mean, his average is a little bit better than everybody else. But overall, to me, like this team, out of their first 30 games or so, as much as there are some glaring holes, as much as there's some problems that they're going to have to deal with, they're in a pretty good spot right now to start the season. And this is the stretch that they needed to rack up wins. And in the month of April, that's exactly what they did. They accomplished racking up wins, and now they got to get ready for a tough May. Now, that tough May we'll talk about in just a little bit. We will go into further detail with what happened yesterday with the Padres game. We got news on Griffin Canning that we want to talk about. He's going to make another start, and then he will be back with the club. That's a big decision that needs to be made for the Padres first before another decision that needs to be made for the Padres and Lucas Giolito. We discussed that a little bit on the roundtable. We'll get to that later on in the show. Bob Scanlan will join us at 11 o'clock this morning. Bob Scanlan will join us on some Thursdays here during the season. So looking forward to talking with Scan in the 11 o'clock hour. Later on at 1:15, Ryan Keckley, the USD men's tennis coach, is gonna join us real quick. Got to get a preview of they're hosting an NCAA tournament, matches this weekend in men's tennis. So kind of give a shout out to some of the local talents here in San Diego. That will be in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll be taking on your Padres questions today as well. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. How do you feel about the Padres being 19-11 on this off day? I think the Padres have been pretty solid so far to start the season. I'd probably give them an A. In terms of everything going into the season and all the negativity that was surrounding the team of question marks all over the place, being a half game back from the Dodgers at the end of April, I think it's a massive win for the Padres. What do you think? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll talk about that when we come back. We'll get your phone calls. Also, look at some of the details of yesterday's game. We're just getting started at the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting us over on Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 10:24. Did you just say that this right now outside weather-wise, this is the best sports weather?
Yes. I will. That is a sports opinion hill that I will die on. Gray, crummy looking days are the best days for sports.
It's the best day to maybe watch inside your house.
No, sunny days are overrated. I'm sorry. They happen far too often. It's the way I see it, and I noticed it at Snapdragon this past weekend too. Colors pop more when it's gray and crummy like this. So the game it looks better when it's gray and crummy like this.
I don't mind playing football in this weather. This is fine. I'd rather have baseball be sunny outside. I'd rather it be warm for baseball. I like enjoying the sunshine outside and having baseball on in the background. Football, you want to be like this? Fine. I don't want it to be too cold, though.
Oh, no, it doesn't have to be cold, but if it's like gray and overcast, that's perfect.
Gray and overcast. You're living the wrong city.
I know. That's why I enjoyed last Saturday night so much with San Diego FC.
Oh, man. This is the perfect sports weather. I don't know about
this. This is great.
Maybe for maybe for football. Soccer, I feel like soccer's probably better played like this. Seems more fun. I don't want to see a cloudy baseball game day.
Your boy Johnny is...
Johnny likes to just spew nonsense.
Your boy Johnny's on one.
He pitched last night. I got 2 hits off him yesterday. To all parts of the yard. I don't know why he's running his mouth. I'll see you on Saturday, Johnny. Johnny's playing a tournament on Saturday. I heard he's pitching. I can't wait to play his team. Middle's open, apparently. Last night...
I'll be at San Diego FC, LAFC on Saturday.
Johnny's like, but did you win? The team, I mean, it's just no. This is not like... I filled in on this team, and they've struggled. Elo tells me he's like, this is the team that Elo plays on.
Yeah,
that I used to play on. It was good seeing the guys again, but like fielding, they got to go out. We got to go out and do some infield outfield a little bit. I think because the fielding is just not very good. But last night, this is not a okay. I want you to understand something here. This is not a toot my own horn. This is just how bad we played yesterday. I hit. First of all, I hit 3.
Cole being a little rude on that one.
Hey man, I was a hired gun last night to get at bats. That's what I was. I'm not on this team full time.
Cole Brooks in the chat. Braden's a big throw the team under the bus kind of guy.
No. I hit 3rd last night on this team, Frank. I never hit 3rd. I don't know. I hit 3rd. Getting extra at bats. I got 2 at bats. We scored 6 runs. I accounted for 5 of them. Not a great night at the yard, to say the least. So I got the 2 at bats there, and then the next game I got like 7 at bats, which is great. Here's the thing that was bothering me about last night's game. I don't like talking about softball. People are like, "Why don't you talk about softball?" I'm like, because nobody cares. First of all, so I went out there to play last night because playing in a tournament on Saturday at the Poway Sportsplex, and a lot of those guys were like, I want to get some extra at bats. So I'm playing in this game, and we're playing a team, and that team is going to be playing. Most of those guys will be playing in the same tournament. Their pitcher was on the team I was playing on. Are you following me so far?
Yeah.
So our pitcher last night in the game is their pitcher Saturday.
Yes.
He goes up to hit, and the guy pitching for them, our guy steps into the box, first foot in the box, guy already throws the pitch. He quick pitches him. And the umpire allows it. It goes strike. And our guy goes, what? He's like, oh, your foot's in the box. Which was nonsense to begin with. Already nonsense. And so our guy's like, okay. And he gets ready. So in this softball league, you can't hit middle. You can't hit box, right? It's a safety thing. So if you got guys hitting box in league, it's like, message kind of thing. Like, oh, we're going to protect our guy. You know, it's like hitting a guy in baseball. Like it is for hitting a guy in baseball, the box rule. You follow me so far?
Yep, I got you.
Next pitch, our guy hits one up the middle. Now, here's the deal. If it bounces before the box, it's clean. Like, you could do that. It's fine. So he basically, it's like buzzing the guy's tower. But he does it on accident. He's just trying to hit at that point. He's got a strike because the guy quick pitched him. And then the guy starts jawing at him, going like, is that how this game's going to be? Because he's now thinking like, I'm going to go middle. Like, because he was pitching for us, right?
My response to that would be, brother, you see the team I'm on? I can't hit to a certain field on purpose. Like, what do you mean?
This is the next game, so this is a different team. So it wasn't as this team actually won, but he starts John.
Bless you.
He starts John about the ball that goes up the middle, and I think it's an interesting dynamic because he's gonna pitch for them on Saturday. So now all of a sudden he's like, yeah, we're just gonna go just start hitting the ball middle and attacking. You're going to do that to your own pitcher? Like, who's pitching for you on Saturday? Seems kind of odd. The guy comes up, rips one up the middle. Pat's like, what are we doing here? What's going on? So what is this softball ego thing?
He gave up a hard hit. I'm sorry, you just lost your tryout for the Tigers. Like, my bad, dude.
Quick pitch the guy. Guy answer with a hit up the middle. And all of a sudden it's like, we're doing that now. It's gonna be a long game. It's like, all right, man, relax. The sports is pitched underhand, dude. It's not that deep. It's really not that deep. But got some good reps in yesterday. It was good. It's good to see the guys again. Elo got one at bat yesterday. That's how bad we were. He got one at bat. It was good. It was a nice hit. You know what? Elo got his lob wedge out there yesterday. He had a nice little, as a lefty, just kind of chipped it right over the second baseman's head, right in front of the right center fielder. Nice, easy swing. Elo's got a smooth little swing from the left side. I'm going to tell you that. I thought he was going to get run again for the third time.
Oh, God.
You know he's gotten run there twice?
I knew about one.
I've seen
twice.
He got ran one time when he was pitching when I was playing. I was playing for the team. I was actually playing first base when he got run.
Yeah.
He was arguing balls and strikes.
Oh, good.
In his defense, he was right. Do you know what a ball and a strike is in slow pitch?
There's a mat, right?
In
and
this
if it lands
league, yes.
on the mat,
They have zone pitching and then they have the mat. But like it's 6 to 12 feet, hits the plate of the mat to strike. Yeah. It's pretty clear cut if it's a strike or not.
Yeah.
I don't know how the umpire was missing the calls, but he was. And Elo was starting to chirp. Quick hook. That was the first time. The second time I wasn't there, I was told by both teams, because I knew guys on both teams, that Elo got run.
I remember. I think you told this story on air.
I did.
Yeah. That's the one I knew about.
So I was talking with Elo before the roundtable, and I said, we were talking about the game last night, and he was like, as somebody that's got kicked out of that place twice, I really bit my tongue on one of the plays, because he had a play at first where I think the guy was clearly out and the umpire called him safe, and then Ella was leading off the next inning. That's how he got run the last time. And he went up there, he's like, for his only at bat, he was just like, I can't do it. Let's go up there and swing. Getting run 3 times at the Sportsplex is diabolical, I would say. Diabolical. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973.
Especially when you got major league managers and scouts there.
Oh, so. That's right. That's right. Major league managers. They know how to manage out there. What happened? Oh, look, the Nationals scored again, Frank. Isn't that what Adam Klug told you when you walked into work today?
Yeah, he was right, but too early.
Yep, there it is.
Whole station's right, but too early. But with the Mets, it's easy.
When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the standouts from yesterday. We'll talk about the bullpen notes. We'll talk about how Matt Waldron did. Deeper dive into yesterday's game. Braden Surprenant Show, standing somewhere in Sports Station 97 to the Fan. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Big shout out to the fan yesterday that went up to Frank at the baseball game and said, love the show. Except for the fact that
there was a big problem.
Frank was not at the game.
I was
yesterday.
not there.
We had all of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. Bob Scanlan will join us in the next segment. So, our sister station, KSON, who just did a great job of being at Stagecoach over the weekend. I was there. Heck of a time. I know he's probably tired from that, but we had one of our morning show hosts on we had John from John and Tammy during the break. He comes in, he peeks his head in, and he was like, I got one of the best compliments at the Padres game. You guys are going to love this. He's like, I'm outside the Odyssey Suite at the Padre game yesterday. He's got his like nachos or whatever like that. And somebody comes up to me and goes like, hey. And so he's like, excuse me, to whoever he's talking to. I go meet one of my fans. And so John Flint starts walking over. And this gentleman, whoever you are, shout out to you. We appreciate you guys listening. He goes, hey, Frank, love the show. Love what you and Braden are doing every day. And give John credit. He goes, no problem. Thank you for listening. That's a radio man right there. Because, you look just like John. I just, spitting image.
Well,
He saw an older Italian man and just assumed it must be Frank Marchese outside the Odyssey Suite. That's amazing. I love that. John's a good-looking guy. For his age, you age like that. Frank, I think you got good company right there.
I appreciate that.
I think you need to grow the John mustache to really get the Italian approach, but I'm just saying.
I had that happen to me once at the ballpark. I remember it was a couple years ago. I was filling out my scorebook before the game. And someone goes, yo, Italian Paul. I look up with the most confused face because the ballpark wasn't open yet.
Right.
And I'm like,
excuse
what the
me?
heck? And I just waved. It was the most weird feeling to be recognized in public.
Who was it?
I have no idea.
A Padres employee?
No, it was just some random.
Somebody just
it was a
randomly
fan.
yelled.
Yeah, it was a fan.
Italian Paul.
I'm like, what's up? I just went back because he went around and I went back to do what I was doing. I'm like, that is such a weird feeling.
That's where you got to give the token like opening day intros when they used to do the opposing team. Relief pitcher Frank Marchese. Kind of like do it with the little face. That's what I did. I was like, yep.
What's up?
Amazing.
But it was so weird. It's so weird being recognized. It really is.
Well, it's a shame that you're on YouTube.
I know. It's not as weird as hearing yourself on radio when you're not actually there doing the radio, but
Tim Day in the YouTube chat asked the question. Now, here's my problem with this because oh man, he always has dad jokes that are foul, and I don't know if I can repeat them. Foul on Tim. Here's the problem. Tim Day also helps with the broadcast for USD, so he will just tell me jokes like that in my headset right before we come back from break, and I'll chuckle. But every time I'll be like, "That's a foul, dude. You're gonna foul yourself out of this game right here." Let's talk about yesterday.
Can we, if he becomes a member, we've had a lot of members come in. We've also had a lot of people getting their third month of membership, but we have had a lot of new members come in. Can he stop getting the fouls if he becomes a member of the YouTube page?
That doesn't prevent you from getting fouls. You can't buy your way out of fouls. Otherwise, Kentucky would never lose.
It's a good start.
throw that in the membership description. You will not be fouled.
For dad jokes.
Or how about the fact that like your fouls won't count towards the Eric Hosmer cameo?
Okay. I'd be amendable. I would be amendable to that.
They're personal fouls. They're not team fouls.
Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right.
I'd be
Fair enough.
amendable to that.
All right. Padres have now officially finished April. They're 19-11. Tied for the fourth best record in Major League Baseball, despite dropping 3 of their final 4 games of the month, including a 5-4 loss to Chicago yesterday. This marks their first back-to-back losses since March and their first series loss in 8 series. This team remains optimistic, obviously, viewing early struggles from star players as temporary, with bench coach Randy Knorr echoing the organizational belief that they all hit the same at the end of the year based on track records. I saw that during the postgame. I agree with that statement. Key positives to this, they include resilience, coming back from multiple large deficits. They did that yesterday. They just didn't come all the way back. Depth in the lineup has been strong production from bottom 4 and top 4 spots in many games. Contributions from non-core players. Concerns are lingering, though, around the offensive inconsistency from the core 4. Obviously, Machado, Tatis, Merrill, more specifically. Bullpen volatility in recent games hasn't been great. Starting rotation is in flux, but the Padres are wasting opportunities while top hitters slump. But 5 months remain and historical hot months for key players. Tatis usually has a hot month in June. Machado usually goes off in July. That offers some hope for this team as well. Margins are very thin, as shown by recent close losses. Now, the core offensive struggles. Here's the big guys, as you will. Xander Bogaerts has been the most productive. Not only has he been the most productive out of like the big names, he's been the most productive on this team, aside from maybe Luis Campusano, but Bogaerts plays almost every single day. Manny, Fernando, and Jackson have been the guys that have, quote, been struggling. Slow start, but healthy now for Manny. DH yesterday, back at third base tomorrow, as reported by Kevin Acee. Consistent career track record. I know he hit into a double play yesterday. I get that. He could have an opportunity to execute right there. I'm still not super worried about Machado, who usually has great summers.
No, and I think Randy Norris said the same thing yesterday, that they wanted to give Manny an extra day to just DH yesterday, getting the day off today, and that they expect him to be back at third base tomorrow.
You move on to Fernando. I don't want to spend too much time on Fernando here because I'm going to continue to say the same things I've been saying. He's hitting the ball incredibly hard at an elite level. He's contributing at an elite level. And as we discussed on the roundtable today, we know when Fernando is in a slump. You have seen a slumping Fernando. And Tony mentioned it, and I think it's spot on. He's trying to find his swing angle, his attack angle that we've talked about with Jake Cronenworth. That's going to be the biggest deciding factor on whether or not he starts turning these line drive singles into line drive extra base hits or line drive home runs. He is homerless through 30-plus games, which is the longest drought of his career. His elite hard hit rate, which is at 64.7%. That means 64.7% of the time he makes contact, he's hitting it over 92 miles an hour. Is that good, Frank? That sounds pretty good to me.
I think that's good.
I brought this up on the round table. I said, has a coach ever been mad at you for hitting the ball too hard? When you start thinking about it like that, has anybody been like benched for like, you're hitting the ball super hard, but it's not going to the fence, so you're not playing? Have you ever heard that ever in any level of baseball? Has anybody complained about how hard somebody hits the ball?
There was that one fan in Philadelphia,
I'm sure. No. So it's like, keep hitting the ball hard. Massive exit velocities, poor luck, low launch angle, highest line drive rate, lowest fly ball rate of his career. He's hitting 250 recently on weaker contact, still grinding out at bats. He's still contributing. Jackson Merrill's an interesting case study too. Seems discombobulated at times. Sometimes he chases pitches. Sometimes he's impatient. Sometimes he's patient. Sometimes he doesn't chase pitches. He has showed some plate discipline and high leverages. this year, and yesterday he showed the plate discipline in a high leverage walk that led to the bases being loaded in the 8th inning. He's been an elite defender. He's had multiple home run robberies. Dropped a key fly ball yesterday, but it's going to happen throughout the season. Bottom 4 and top 4 spots have been delivered, or should I say have delivered multi-hit games frequently. Impressive team-wide contribution for this team in the first month of the year. And if you look at yesterday, I think you need to see Jackson Merrill bat leadoff a couple more times. It sounded like from Randy Knorr that he was just kind of seeing if it would give a spark. Didn't really lead to a spark. Top of the order went 1 for 10 in yesterday's game. Pitching notes. Bullpen has allowed 20 runs in the last 4 games. That's over 14 and a third innings pitch. They squandered multiple leads yesterday. Group effort in recent losses, historical precedent of rough patches, turning around led MLB in key metrics last year. I think the bullpen's going to turn around too. I think this is just one of those stretches that it's tough. You knew this bullpen at certain parts of the year were going to struggle. This is one of those parts. I'm not overly worried about the bullpen, Frank.
No. Every bullpen has its times, and all the time there's one guy that's off in the bullpen. Right now, it feels like it's David Morgan it's his turn to be a little off right now, but we know what he can be. We know what he can turn around to be. And the good thing about David Morgan is he's got a couple of options left. So if he really does have a prolonged lapse in the bullpen, you can swap him out for someone else. You can get him right. Because remember, he hadn't played a game over Double-A before coming to the Major League roster, and did a great job last year and was able to stick. Now, there are other guys like Wandy Peralta and Yuki Matsui, when that eventually comes back up, that you're going to have to ride with because they're paid and don't have options. So it's just one of those little bumps in the road for this bullpen as a whole.
In terms of the rotation, I thought Matt Waldron had a good bounce back outing yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough to make you keep him over somebody else, though. I mean, he did exactly what you need a number 5 starter to do. 5 innings, 3 runs, right? What was our metric that we had?
Like 5 innings,
I think it was
4
like
runs.
5 innings, 4 runs or less. He did that. He did 5 innings, 3 runs. It's exactly what you need out of Matt Waldron. The problem is I disagree with Chris and Tony on the roundtable about his last start in Colorado. I don't think it was very good. I don't think you can have I know your number 5 starter is supposed to keep you in games, but just because you're hitting doesn't mean it's okay to have a number 5 starter give up 6-7 runs in an outing. He gave 6 runs. Yeah, I get that he sacrificed another inning out there so he could save the team. Great. That's admirable. But at the end of the day, compared to Marquez and Buehler, I think Marquez and Buehler give you a better opportunity to win when they start compared to Matt Waldron and what we have seen so far and what we have seen over the course of Matt Waldron's career in a Padres uniform. And as Ben Higgins mentioned, if they DFA'd Matt Waldron today, tomorrow, whatever it may be, are you concerned about him getting picked up in waivers?
No.
I'm not. If you DFA Walker Buehler, are you concerned about him getting picked up on waivers? Yes. If you DFA Armand Marquez, are you concerned about him getting picked up on waivers? Also, yes. I think that plays a factor in this decision when Griffin Canning comes back. I really do. Starters overall have been in flux. Quality starts are hard to come by lately. I think they've been solid so far, and the reality is you can't have too many instances in which you are you can't be 19-11 with a terrible rotation. I mean, they have pitched. The top half has done well. We've talked about that, and we talked about that in yesterday's show. It's just a little bit in flux right now. Nick Castellanos broke an 0 for slump with a homer and timely RBIs yesterday, adapting to the role player role. I think he has a little bit more of a leash in general just because he's adjusting to that role. He needed that home run yesterday in a big way.
You could see it's like a weight lifted off.
And maybe that leads to more hits. Maybe it leads to more hits for him. He needed that big time.
And no international tragedies either.
Foul.
He draws the foul.
Is it a
Jake-
foul if it's a fact?
Stop asking questions like that. You could talk yourself into a corner. Jake Cronenworth has got a brutal slump going right now. 146 batting average, career worst, early stretch, despite strong prep for the season, despite strong prep for the year and for the day. Miguel Andujar and others, depth pieces stepping up. I thought the depth yesterday was good. But, again, a lot of small sample size so far. Padres are 19-11. I like where the Padres are at right now. If you disagree, give us a call. Coming up next, Bob Scanlan. Talk to us about the first 30 games of the Padres season. He joins us next on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. And we are introducing and announcing that we will be having on a lot of Thursdays here coming up. Bob Scanlan is going to join us here on Thursdays to talk some Padres baseball. We look forward to doing this more often. But San Diego Padres broadcaster, former MLB pitcher, Bob Scanlan joining us on an off day. Bob, how's your off day going?
It's been great, and it's even better now that I get a chance to talk some ball with you guys, and thanks for inviting me on. I didn't realize am I your Thursday guy now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, it might be. You might be our Thursday guy if that's the case. You know what? So you could go get some reps in with my brother over at the gym and then jump on the show with us. You could just have a Surprenant day. How about that?
I love it. Yeah, that was fun. I'm over at the gym the other day, and your brother comes up and introduces himself. So we had fun talking baseball, and of course, smack talking you behind your back,
of course,
as a brother would rightfully do. But
as
he's
he
very
should.
Proud of you. You guys have a great family. We've known several members of your family through different things. Seeing your brother at the gym, and my wife has worked with your dad in some various projects and what he does in his business. Of course, our interactions together. So you have a wonderful family, and proud to be able to share some time with you guys.
I appreciate that, Bob. Thank you very much. I'll pass that along. Let's talk about the Padres in general. We'll go into some finer details about this last week, but April is now over for the Padres. Their next game will be in May, and the finished April with a total record, if you include March, with 19-11 for their first 30 games. How do you evaluate where the Padres are at right now, despite, as we talked about on the Epic Padres Roundtable today, the stats might not be really showing why this team is 19-11. I think that just shows how good they are. But what's Bob Scanlan's evaluation after 30 games about this Padres team?
Well, it's been fun to watch, hasn't it? And to your point, and I have no idea what you guys talked about in the roundtable, forgive me for missing it, but it is interesting how in no way do you feel like this team is hitting on all cylinders, and yet they're winning baseball games left and right. And I think that's one of the things that is kind of exciting about it, because you feel like, wow, wait until the offense is actually really kicking in the way that we think it's capable of doing. Wow, wait till the starting rotation is fully healthy. And these guys have been doing a great job of keeping the Padres in games up to this point. But I think there's even more in the tank on the starting rotation side, both with guys that are currently in the rotation and any help that might be on the way as well. But one of the couple things that I feel like they've done extremely well. Number one, I think they've done an incredible job on the offensive side of taking advantage of opportunities that have been presented to them. And I think I may have talked about this in the roundtable last week or the week before, and it's not changed. The Padres have led Major League Baseball all season long in the most unearned runs scored. And that's nothing to apologize for. I mean, that basically means that when the opposition has opened the door for you to take advantage of something, they have done it. If the other team makes an error, they're like, okay, we're going to make you pay for that. So they've not wasted those opportunities. And that doesn't even count the number of plays that don't really go down as errors. They're just misplays by the other team, or, an opportunity to turn a double play and they don't, whatever it may be. The Padres, it just seems like every time they have an opportunity to take advantage of a weakness that the opposition has opened up the door, the Padres kick that door in. Job well done. And I don't know if that's something that you can continue to depend on moving forward, because part of that is the opposition giving you those opportunities. Now, how much that's going to continue to move forward, who knows? But the other part I think they've done really well on, and this is actually a statistical thing you can look up, is the number of productive outs that they've had. The Padres have had more productive outs than any other team in baseball. They've done it, and they've taken advantage of those opportunities more than any other team in baseball. So those are the little things, Braden, that sometimes no one really pays attention to, because we all want to look at what's the batting average, what's the slugging percentage, how many home runs have they hit, what's the OPS, and those things are certainly relevant, and as I think we all agree, are not where we expect this offense to be in terms of those numbers. But the little things behind the scenes, they're doing very well. And I think that's one of the reasons that they've been able to stay in games, stay close in these games, and be able to forge these comebacks, because as soon as they are able to put pressure on the opposition and the opposing defense and the opposing bullpen, they've made the most of it. So were they able to do it yesterday? No, but for the most part, I think they've done a really good job of doing these little things. And if they continue to do those things along with start getting some of your big boys hot at the same time, then look out. It could be really be some fun and give yourself some breathing room where you don't have to create these wonderful, fun comebacks.
The comebacks are fun, but I think a lot of Padres fans wouldn't mind just winning 8-2 and going to bed like nice and you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's
totally,
they're keeping it entertaining. That's for sure. Bob, the other thing I like, and he's learning how to be a manager on the fly. I think Craig Stammen's done a great job so far. But the best thing I have liked from Craig is keeping everybody involved. He uses his bench all the time. He uses his players with their unique skills that they might bring to the table. He's not afraid to have him pinch run. He's not afraid to have him pinch hit. He's using a lot of the bullpen. You've been part of a lot of baseball teams. I know you're on the pitching side, but I feel like that as an outsider, and maybe because I coach football where there's a lot of guys that need to be playing in and out all the time. But when I've had good teams, it's because everybody's engaged and they believe in the job that they're doing is helping the team win. I would imagine as a player, it's kind of like that. But for your perspective, Bob, how important is it for, even at the major league level where there's egos and all this other stuff, how important is it for a manager to use all these players and keep them engaged in games instead of them having 2, 3, 4 days in a row where they're not playing at all?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think it's super important. And I think it's one of the things that sort of goes with one of Craig's themes in spring training and who he is as a person, which is we're a family here, right? And I think, it's sort of this broad term that we hear guys talk about, we hear managers and organizations talk about, but I think he's brought it to life. And I felt that in spring training with, just encouraging guys to bring out the wives, bring out the kids, let's get together, let's have a bond here, not just as ball players of the field, but also we're bringing our families together. And, the more we can do that, the more we're all connected. But then it sort of carries over into this theme in terms of the professional side of it as well of, look, we're a family here and we all have things that we can contribute. And there's all we're going to be asking things of you at various times, both in terms of we need you to step up and also with some guys, maybe, hey, we need you to take a day off today so that we can get these other guys in there and have it be a part of things. So it creates not only a psychological sense of family and we're all contributing, but just the physical side of, hey, everybody comes to the ballpark every day. It might be my time to perform. I might be asked to do something today. I might be asked to play third base that I haven't done in 3 or 4 years, right? I'm going to be asked to go into the outfield. I'm going to be asked to pinch hit. I'm going to be asked to pinch run. All these guys keep their skills sharp. And for some of these guys like Nick Castellanos, it's a new experience for him, right? Not being an everyday player. He's trying to learn how to be a guy that's coming off the bench at times. He's trying to learn how to be a guy that gets platooned and not playing on an everyday basis. So this is part of his training experience also in terms of, look, if you're going to be a part of this team and be helpful and be a contributor in a new role, let's get you accustomed to that role and get you those reps so you can get used to it. So, and I think it sets the tone also, Braden, here early on that, don't get complacent, don't get comfortable. We're going to keep using everybody. And I've been on teams where that doesn't happen and guys start to feel like they're not a part of things. They literally show up and you can see they're kind of moping like, hey man, what's going on? It's like, man, I'm going to go through my reps here today, but we all know I'm not going to get into the ball game, and it can start to affect your work ethic. And your just sense of being a part of things. So I think he's done a fabulous job of doing this. Now, will it be this way the entire season? Who knows? Remains to be seen, because Craig said right from the get-go, he was going to be very experimental with the lineup and the roster and the use of players by design early on. He said, but at some point, if things start to settle in and, this is my everyday leadoff man, or this is my everyday, whatever it may be, some of that stuff may calm down, but at least there's an attempt here in the early going to make sure that everybody's involved and really setting the tone that this is the way it can be for the rest of the season. And you're a part of things, and we're going to ask you to be ready and be prepared. And we're going to give you every opportunity to be able to perform in those situations because you haven't been sitting there for a week. So yeah, I think he's done a great job with it all. And guys have responded.
San Diego Padres broadcaster Bob Scanlan joining us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking, it's better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I want to go back to the reps thing, Bob. Let's talk about the reps thing, because here's a couple of players that are trying to get reps, right? Jake Cronenworth's trying to figure out his swing. We've seen the uppercut on his swing. It looks like, based on not just the eye test, but even watching his swing analytically. He looks like he's in adjustment mode to try to get his swing down. Fernando is trying to adjust his swing, maybe get a little bit more on the fly ball, maybe get the ball over the fence a little bit more. Tony Gwynn Jr. alluded to that on the round table today. You mentioned Nick Castellanos trying to get reps as a new role. For you as a baseball player and for being around baseball, these guys are practicing these things almost on a daily basis, but it takes time to fully master it. It takes time to fully implement some of these tweaks. What is that process like as a player when you are trying to fix something as you're in your game? Because a lot of fans, I think, go, well, this is the problem. Why isn't he automatically just fixed it right now? It takes a little bit of process. For you, in your experience, how long would it take you, and I know it's different for everybody else, but how long would it take you to kind of implement a new element of your game in the, during the season?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's different for each guy and each what the issue actually is, right? So, for example, from a pitching standpoint, and I'll get to the position player side in a moment. From a pitching standpoint, it would be like, okay, first of all, diagnose what is the problem. Guys are hitting my breaking ball. Well, are they hitting my breaking ball because my breaking ball isn't the action on it isn't good, or am I not locating it well, or am I simply not setting it up properly? Right. So first of all, what actually is the problem? Then it's like, okay, so now how do we go about fixing that? And from the pitching side, thank goodness, with all the analytics and everything that are going on now, Braden, as you know, we can fix those things a lot more quickly than we used to be able to, right? Back in my day, it was like, well, let's try this, let's try that, let's try that. It might take you weeks, sometimes months to fix something. Whereas now, because of all the great analytics that they have, let's go to the bullpen and we've got the TrackMan there and the Rapsodo, and all of a sudden within 3 or 4 pitches, I can tell right away, oh, that's the problem. The ability to fix and diagnose things on the pitching side, I think is tremendously been expedited because of analytics, and that's a wonderful thing. From the hitting side, it's a totally different story. And it's not because we don't have analytics that can evaluate all that stuff, but there's so many other variables that come into play as a hitter. You could be doing everything right, but part of it is also there's a guy throwing a ball 97 miles an hour, and he's spotting it up in the zone, in on you, away. Oh, and he's mixing in a slider. And you hit one right on the barrel, and it's right at the shortstop, or the guy leaps up over the wall and robs you of a home run. There's just a lot more things that are out of your control as a hitter that you're trying to fix, and you don't always get that immediate feedback. As a pitcher, I can get immediate feedback literally the next day on whether the change I made is working or not. From a hitter, you may go weeks without really seeing the results of the process that you're doing and doing it well. So I'm sorry for the long answer, but sometimes guys have a quick and easy fix, right? I know, for example, I'm not going to say the hitter, but there was a hitter on our team that was working with Steven Souza Jr., the hitting coach, and they saw something, and within 2 days, you could see an instant result because of the way that this guy was using his hands differently and getting through the zone. That's wonderful. When you're a hitting coach and you can get instant feedback for a guy like that, and all of a sudden he's on board and he's believing, that's awesome. For other guys, it's going to take longer, either because you're trying to figure out what exactly is the problem. Okay. Like let's say you said Jake's, got a loop in a swing or whatever. It's like, okay, well, sometimes that's not as easy to fix. Do you fix it because of the hand placement? Do you fix it because of how the lower body is working? The lower body then affects the upper body. And so you have to diagnose all those things. And it can take a while to get that done, let alone establishing in your mind as a hitter, you're changing something physically. And you may work on it in the batting cage, and it may work great. But when you get in that batter's box and that guy's throwing 97 at you, you kind of go back to your old habits. So it takes time to reestablish that new habit that even though you're trying to make, in the heat of battle, it can take a little longer to do it. So I think all of these things can really vary. Sometimes you do a fix and you see it right away. Other times it can take weeks to sort of establish it. And even if you have established it, to see the results of it. So, and with a guy like Nick Castellanos, now you're talking about a guy that's trying to actually learn how to do a different job or approach his job differently, prepare himself on a daily basis to do his job differently because he's being asked to do something, a different part of the game that he's not done before. Some guys gravitate to it right away. Other guys, it takes a little while to get to it. So I wish I had a black and white answer for you, Braden, of, yeah, these things happen overnight. But sometimes it can take a while before you actually see the results. But you just got to be constantly working. That's why these guys are training every single day, because you don't want to start getting into bad habits then that take a while to get out of, and you find yourself down this path that's hard to get out of. So it's constant vision, being on top of it. What am I doing? What are my results? Is my process good, even if the results aren't showing it right now? And that's kind of the joy and the agony both of being a major league player and trying to be consistent.
That's a perfect answer, because I think, for a lot of fans, it's, why haven't they made the adjustment yet? Well, they're making the adjustment. It just takes time. And, we could be very impatient as fans a lot of the times. I want to ask a follow-up question about Steven Souza Jr. Obviously, you mentioned a certain situation that you have watched. From our perspective and for the fans' perspective, we only really get to see Steven Souza Jr. when he's on TV. And, you guys do a good job showing him during pitching changes of going up and showing, maybe the batter coming up, what this guy has. Mm-hmm. He seems, and this could have been happening before with previous hitting coaches. He seems to me, as I observed from afar, really hands-on, and he seems like a guy that the players really like learning from. What have you seen out of Steven Souza Jr. As now a hitting coach for the first time? I know he's worked in different departments for different teams, obviously a former big leaguer. But I feel like they've done a really good job with in-game adjustments to their approach and the game planning. What have you seen out of Steven Souza Jr. and how have the players responded to what he has had to say?
Yeah, first of all, I think I've always been impressed with all the coaches that the Padres have had. Let me just start right there, because every one of them cares. Every one of them has been, hands-on. They're all the guys that we've seen come and go over the years, I feel like have been there for the right reasons and have had the right intent. One of the things that I think we've talked about with Ruben Niebla that has been so impressive is Ruben's ability to sort of understand how to build the relationship first with his players, such that they are going to be open to whatever suggestions he may have. And sometimes it means him going forth and saying, hey, here's something I think you might want to take a look at. Other times he doesn't say a word until that player comes to him and asks, hey, is this, what do you think we should be looking at? It's understanding the player, understanding how to build that relationship and how to build that trust. Once you have that trust, then you can start, applying things, either physically with the approach or mentally with the approach, whatever it may be. But at first, it's building that relationship. I've seen a similar thing with Steven Souza Jr. in terms of his approach. It seems as though he has ideas for every single guy. He has knowledge for every single guy of here's what you're doing well. Here's some things that you may want to look at some point. Hey, this is working for you now, but if things go south, this is something that we may want to try to fix at some point. But just in talking to him and seeing his interaction with the players, it seems as though he's got a really good feel of how to build a relationship, when to be proactive about something, and when to lay back. And sometimes that's just as important, Braden, as having the knowledge, right? Being in a mode where that player trusts you and that player wants to come to you and is open to the ideas that you may have, I think is something that he's done extremely well. And on the other side of that thing, when players have come to him and asked for help, or he has had a suggestion, it's paid off. Like that other story that I was just telling you about, the player. I don't want to mention guys' names and what they're working on or get into their personal stuff, but you see results. And I think he's continuing to build that trust with the guys that he's worked with and other guys who he needs to sort of let them go on their own path, and at some point know when to say, hey, have you thought about this, or wait for that player to come to him. So I think he's done a great job of building those relationships, building that trust, and also providing pithy and helpful information when the time is appropriate. So hopefully that continues, and we just continue to see the growth as the season goes on.
Last question for you, Bob, as Bob Scanlan joins us on the SDCCU fan hotline. Obviously, one of the biggest stories of the Padres is the back end of the rotation. And, Lucas Giolito's coming back after he just signed him. Griffin Canning is expected to make one more rehab start. Then he's going to be back. The Padres have a lot of decisions that need to be made in order to get those guys on the roster. They usually have a way of playing themselves out, obviously. But the back end of the rotation right now is competition between Walker Buehler, Amon Marquez, and Matt Waldron. I know you could probably take a deep dive on all three of these players, so I'm setting you up for failure on that. But what have you seen out of these three players, and what have you seen them do over the course of the season? Because it seems like, Bob, with Ruben Niebla, all three of them who have had, some clunkers in there have continued to slowly get better as the season progresses. And something that, obviously I don't think the Padres want to see any of those players potentially leave.
No, I don't think they want anybody to leave. You want to keep the depth, right? And I think, long story short, they've all kept Padres in baseball games, and that's really what you asked them to do, right? I mean, even the other day, Walker Buehler goes 4 2/3. He gives up 2 runs, but he keeps the team in the game. Matt Waldron the other day in Colorado, he gave up 4 or 5 runs in the first couple of innings or whatever, and he goes up to Craig and says, "Hey, don't take me out of this ball game. I can still give you some more innings." And sure enough, he posts 3 more innings, puts zeros up along the way and keeps you in the game. They come back and win that game. So I think we've seen that out of all 3 of the names that you mentioned, German Marquez included. And that's really all you can ask for at this point, along with the fact that, to your other point, they've been working with Ruben. We've seen progress in all of these guys in terms of what they're trying to do. And you hope that progress continues. And all of a sudden, who knows, maybe in a month from now, you're in a completely different situation of, wow, Giolito's back and Joe Musgrove is back. And who knows what's going to happen with Nick Pivetta at some point. Hopefully in the next couple of months, he's healthy and coming back as well. You may find yourself in a situation where, man, we've got actually rotation depth now that we didn't expect to have. Now, to your other point, usually some of these decisions have a way of working themselves out, either by other injuries, unfortunately coming up, or just underperformance in some ways. So I'm not too worried about that at this point. We'll wait and see what happens. But hey, the bottom line is they've kept the Padres in games with the ability to make comebacks when necessary, even if they fall behind, and giving this bullpen a chance to hold those deficits within reach. And when the Padres do make those comebacks, the bullpen has been able to shut it down. So hey, as long as that rotation keeps doing what it's doing, which is basically keep you in ball games, I think that's a great place to start at this point.
Bob, I appreciate the time. And we took a lot of your time today. It was good baseball conversation, good Padres conversation. Enjoy the rest of your day off, and look forward to talking to you again.
Braden, thanks for the time to talk ball. I appreciate it. Always fun. And look forward to doing this on some more Thursday moving forward.
Bob Scanlan joining us on the STCCU fan hotline as we have a Padres off day, but good insight as always from the big, tall right-hander. So we appreciate Bob joining us today. Trying to get him on at a couple more Thursdays, but a lot of great insight out of Bob Scanlan. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna dive a little bit further into that conversation with the 3 starters: Walker Buehler, German Marquez, Matt Waldron. We talked about it earlier in the week. Now we have seen a lot of these guys go again. German Marquez is the next one to get the call. We'll talk about what these 3 have done since becoming Padres when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, setting his number sports station 97 through the Fan. He said great baseball conversation. Did he not say that? He said that in the past.
He has always said great baseball conversation.
Specifically.
And I have not had a conversation with Bob Scanlan about baseball that was not
great.
Incredible.
Right. Come on. We're doing what you said.
So, I mean, no, actually, so to be fair with that.
To be fair.
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 We did not just have a great baseball conversation with Bob Scanlan. We had an incredible baseball conversation. So we are technically in the wrong.
You still have to make him a blog, though.
I do, yeah. I think that's the punishment for for having the
Going
incredible
over the
conversation.
Yeah, we went over. Adam walks in. He's like, "Did you go to?" We had like 22. We were supposed to break at 18. Went to 22, but it was a great conversation.
Maybe.
You said we could if it was this.
So it's Adam's fault.
It's a foul on us. That's fine. I knew that was the case when I asked like the last question at 19.
He draws the foul.
It's okay. All right. I do want to get into this information about Walker Buehler, Matt Waldron, or Marc Marquez. Because you could start looking at some of their trend reports. And honestly, like you look at it across the board, the biggest takeaway I have, if you look at all of their, and we've been using Pitcher List PLV because they put out a grading sheet on everybody based on like a lot of the analytics, a lot of the, the CSW percentage, the stuff plus, a lot of the, break, velo up results. I mean, just all the different type of analytics that you would have. And so we have all of the graphs from April on these pitchers. And before we take a deeper dive into this in the next segment, I do want to say, this is what I want to get to because we do have to we're going to try to break back on time here. Overall synopsis of every start. And I'll start with Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler's start on April 6th against Boston. Like we don't have any, we're not including the March stuff. We're just since April 1st through. Rough debut for Walker Buehler against the Red Sox. Stuff was a B-. His locations were F. Pitching list view F. Result. High walks, poor command for Walker Buehler. His cutter was okay at 88.9 miles an hour. Decent movement. But he had a high called strike whiff percentage at 38%, which was wasted in a short outing. After that, he had a dominant outing against Colorado at home. His locations improved, B-. He got a overall grade of a B compared to the F that he had. He had a 6-inning shutout against Colorado and strong cutter usage and location versus both sides of the plate. High strike percentage in his arsenal. He then had a steady start against Seattle, C+ across the board. On that particular deal, his locations were a B. He had a 32% called strike whiff rate, which is good. He had good movement on his curve and his sweeper. Regressed on April 23rd at Colorado. Locations, D. Overall grade, D+. It was short. It was hittable. Latest outing against the Cubs, he had a rebound. His stuff was a B. Kept him in the game. He had better command, 22% on the called strike whiff. I mean, that's against a high-slugging Chicago Cubs team. Overall trend for Walker Buehler, volatile but recent uptick in his stuff, which I think is interesting with Ruben Niebla, and his cutter remains a weapon. When we come back, we'll talk about Marc Marquez and Matt Waldron and how they compare with Walker Buehler, and we'll take a deeper look into who is favored to have a better 2026 based on the trends we're getting from the analytics. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing Surprenant Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. 11:39 on a Thursday. Padres off day today. Get ready for the White Sox tomorrow. The full Chicago homestand.
Windy City Homestand.
Yeah. Is it funny how like the schedule does that sometimes?
It's nice because it makes good gimmicks like that. The Windy City Homestand.
The Windy City homestand. Why didn't they market that like that?
I think they did.
Huh.
Maybe not in those exact words, but it was marketed that way.
Interesting. Windy City homestand. There's so many schedule quirks out there that are fun. That's one of them. There's also like the ones where you play like a team like twice in 3 series.
Yeah, like they're going to do with the Phillies.
Yeah, they play the Phillies on Memorial Day on May 25th to the 27th. They're going to have an off day, and then they're going to fly to the East Coast, play the Nationals, and then play the Phillies again.
And then stick with the National League East when the Mets come here, which is going to be great.
Meet the Mets. Aren't you excited to meet the Mets on June 5th?
They don't want me to meet them.
That's a fact.
They do not.
They
want
definitely
me to
do
meet
not
them.
want you anywhere near the ballpark. In fact, I'd be surprised. Your credential's not going to work that weekend. The Mets are going to put in a request. They're going to be like, "Yeah, dude, don't let that Frank guy into the building,
can we
please."
Just not that weekend, please.
I think they just ban all Franks now. Unfortunately, it's not your fault.
Yeah, I know, right?
You might have to be Frankie or Francis or something.
Frank, you're not allowed to go to Citi Field. I've been to Citi Field once, and that was when they were getting their brains beaten in 100-degree weather with 99% humidity against the Cubs.
I think the Padres called it the Chi-Town Showdown, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's more or less.
It's hard because like Mark Grant also he's from Chicago. He likes to throw in his own Chicago stuff anyway. So maybe that was part of it. Yeah, they got the Mets. The Reds, who are pretty good in the month of June. You got Baltimore in June. Hey, Birdland.
Hey, Birdland.
There it is. Oh, we're going to wear that one out, aren't we? It's a shame that they play them on the weekend. That needed to be during the week.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Cardinals, Rangers. Chris Ellis going to that series, apparently. Atlanta, L.A., at Chicago, end of June. I talked
LA,
about,
which is the last time that whole 2 teams in 3 series thing happens.
Oh, they do that again?
Yeah, with the
Dodgers?
Yeah, with the Dodgers, and that's it.
Yeah, they got the Dodgers at home Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the end of June. What's interesting to me is the Padres play the Dodgers twice at home, and then they go play them twice on the road. Like, that's how they split it. So, like, there's no you're done playing the Dodgers at home June 28th, which is crazy. But the thing is, it's like that's how you have to make the schedule because you got to play everybody. And I'm not against that. I enjoy being able to play everybody.
There's got to be a better way, though, to work the schedule to where you're facing like a lot of divisional opponents in September or something like that.
I mean, you could totally do that. You would just, the entire like first 2 months of the year, though, you'd be playing like the American League.
Okay.
People want to see the division early, too. I mean, it's like you can't like evenly space the division games, I guess, throughout the whole deal. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could. You could play every team in the division once a month.
This, by the way, what we're seeing right now, Mets Nationals, this is the first NL East team that the Mets have seen all season long. And this will be the last one that they see for the next like 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's just the way the schedule's worked out. They've played pretty much everyone in the NL Central already.
That happened to the Padres last year. I can't remember. It was the division opponents of the Padres were like, they didn't see one for forever, or it took them forever to finally play like the Giants or something like that. Yeah, I think it was last year. They didn't like play the first game against the Giants until like August or something stupid.
Yeah.
This year they actually have it more spaced out. The last division opponent they will play is the Dodgers on May 18th. That will be they'll finally check off the Dodgers. I mean, they have already played the Rockies 7 times before they've played the Dodgers once. They've only played the Diamondbacks twice. They don't play the Diamondbacks again. The Padres don't play the Diamondbacks again until July. They played them twice in April. They play them 4 times in July, 4 times in August, and then 3 times in September.
This is the state of desperation, by the way, that the Mets are into, just win and game.
It's the 6th. They still have time to blow it.
They had Juan Soto got on with a leadoff hit, and then they had their number 3 hitter, MJ Melendez, which, by the way, if your number 3 hitter is MJ Melendez, you're a good team. The same MJ Melendez who hit a 3-run home run earlier in the game bunted. That's how a guy, their number 3 hitter who had hit a 3-run home run earlier in the game, hit a sac bunt.
Wow. Lindor seems super stoked right
now.
now.
Yeah, Vientos drove him in with a double. So it worked, but that's the desperation level for the Mets right now.
I like the guy complaining. It's like, nobody cares about the Mets. Here's the deal. I don't care about the Mets either. But, like, listening to Frank crash out about any of his sports teams is hilarious.
Just enjoy
He could like any of the teams. It doesn't really matter. If you have somebody, like, as a producer / some on-air talent here with Frank, having that person, like, root for a team that is always miserable and rant about it is hilarious to me. I feel the pain. I really do. It just happens to be the Metropolitans. He could be like a miserable A's fan. Miserable whatever fan. Whatever it may be. It's good entertainment. All right. I wanted to get to the schedule for the month of May for the Padres. They just finished up April. They'll have the White Sox at home. They'll go to San Francisco, play the Cardinals at home, and that's going to be 10 games in 10 days, if you will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, I was right. It's 10 games in 10 days. They have an off day. And then they go 3, 6, 9 games in 9 days with an off day. With 3, so they got 3 off days in the month of May. They go White Sox at home, at the Giants, home against the Cardinals. Then they have a road trip of Milwaukee and Seattle after a Monday off day. They come home to take on the Dodgers for 3 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Series 18th of May to the 20th. 21st is off. They'll play the A's that weekend, Los Oaklamento A's, the 22nd to the 24th. They'll have Philly for a Memorial Day homestand, if you will, as they will have the Phillies on Memorial Day at 3:40. And then 2 more games against Philadelphia, off day, and then they'll finish the month of May with the Washington Nationals. Slightly better of a schedule than they just had. You get the benefit of the fact that the White Sox aren't very good, and the Phillies are playing so poorly that they fired their coach. But with that being said, despite the Cardinals not looking like they wanted to win during the offseason, they have a winning record. The Giants took 2 out of 3 from you already at home. You got to go up there. Milwaukee's tough. I know you swept Seattle, but might be a different story up in Seattle. They have a good team still. You got to play the Dodgers. A's are in first place. Philly's always been tough. And then we got to talk about who won the Soto trade at the end of the month, as is tradition. Let's get back to the conversation about the pitching side of things. So I mentioned like what Walker Buehler did in his 5 starts in April. He had a rough debut of the month in Boston, dominant outing against Colorado, steady outing against Seattle, regression at Coors Field, and then he rebounded against the Cubs in terms of his overall analytics and his numbers. As for German Marquez, disaster on April 1st against the Giants. Disaster. He got a D+ rating. His location was an F. High home runs, poor command, four-seam fastball primary use pitch. It was flat movement, wasn't going very hard. He got tagged. April 7th against the Pirates, bounced back, went to a B+ rating. Location still a D+. Curveball was effective. We've seen that elite curveball now, that knuckle curve. Against Colorado, middling, he was okay. At a D rating in terms of his overall result. His analytic rating was a C. Against the Angels, that's where he peaked. Locations B+. Overall results an A-. Stuff was a B. He had a shutout and a 30% called strike whiff rate, best movement and execution of the month. And against Arizona, albeit pitching at high altitude, against the Diamondbacks in Mexico City, a little bit of a slip. Stuff was a D+. Overall grade was a D+. 4 earned runs in 6 innings. It was, he's the highest velocity out of the 3. But he's also the most inconsistent when it comes to command and locations. He's had strong outings, relying on curveball and 4-seam ride, but he has been the most inconsistent, as I mentioned before, with his command compared to Walker Buehler and compared to Matt Waldron. Matt Waldron's only made 3 starts. Against the Angels, stuff was a B-. Results were a D-. He had high earned run on limited innings pitched, heavy knuckleball usage. Against Colorado, in Colorado, he got a D on his stuff, C+ on his grade. Tough Coors Field, but at least he gave you an extra inning. And then I thought yesterday was the steadiest that Matt Waldron's been. His stuff was a C. Locations were a lot better as a B-. Overall grade was a C. Knuckleball and sweeper was showing plus movement, which is great. He was strong against right-handed batters. He got an A grade against righties, but he is the lowest velocity out of the group. But the unique knuckleball arsenal produces consistent whiffs when he can locate it. But when he can locate it, it's a big problem. And his pitching list view, if you will, is overall was a B- level lately. So that was the 3 starts, which is different than the 5 starts that we were looking at for the last 5 starts for Walker Buehler and German Marquez. In the month of April, here's kind of the trend report we have for you. Walker Buehler shows the clearest rebound of the group from the first day to the last day. He went from an F grade to a B grade recently. Marquez has been the most volatile. He has peaked at a B grade. He has dipped all the way down to a D+. Waldron's been the steadiest because he's been mostly C's and B's in terms of his analytics, with very unique pitch shape on his pitches, obviously coming from the knuckleball. In terms of command and location, they've all struggled versus lefties. Buehler and Waldron have improved in latest starts. Marquez locations remain the weakest overall. In terms of the whiff, called strike whiff rate, movement, Buehler leads in raw whiffs when he's on, he's getting the most swing and miss, 32%. Marquez velocity helps 4-seam, but he has less swing and miss lately. We've seen that with some home runs. And with Waldron's knuckleball and sweeper, he generates plus movement and called strike whiff percentage despite lower velo. In terms of the box score versus the underlying numbers, all 3 of these guys show underlying better than results in good outings. High PLV plus, stuff plus. The Coors outings hurt everybody. The Coors and high altitude outings hurt German Marquez in Mexico City. It hurt Walker Buehler against Colorado. It hurt Matt Waldron against Colorado. In the small sample, Buehler has the highest ceiling flashes so far based on the metrics. Waldron has been the most consistent floor. In terms of the arsenal that they throw, Buehler, cutter heavy with breaking balls. Marquez, 4-seam, plus the curve. Matt Waldron, knuckleball dominant, distinct edge and movement profiles. But as of right now, your highest upside is Walker Buehler, and most recent positive trend in stuff and in the grades, according to the pitch list. His command is improving. His cutter's effective. He's 31, but he is still showing that he can generate the swing and miss when he's locked in. And we've seen that the first time through the rotation. We haven't seen that in the other times through. Best bet for volume and impact. Matt Waldron has been the most consistent in terms of his grades because of his unique knuckleball, but because it's harder to square up when located. Like, the analytics are going to love the fact that Matt Waldron throws a knuckleball. He has been the most steady because of that knuckleball, but I don't know necessarily if that's part of the conversation. German Marquez has the highest velocity, but he has been the most erratic with command, and recent stuff declined. Like, his latest start, he had D+. I don't think you can review it too much because of the fact he was pitching at high altitude. But he's capable of dominance, but the highest risk of blow-up starts. So now knowing that information, Frank, Who stays and who goes? Who do you think has the best opportunity to stay on the team long term? Who do you think has the best opportunity to be good for the rest of 2026? That's a conversation we're going to get to when we come back in the noon lunchtime hour. Braden Surprenant Show, Static Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour of the fan is brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors, 2 locations, Sereno Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
You know what? I think I'm going to go get tacos today. I think I'm going to go get tacos today.
You've been threatening long enough.
I'm going today. You want to know why I'm going today? I got to go to, I got Scripps Ranch Beach Volleyball at Cathedral today. As I'm repping the Scripps Ranch Falcons. See how they do today. It's the first round of the playoffs. I will say, Cathedral's already listed the game as a win on Max Preps. That is so disrespectful.
Oops.
Not only that, they already have Point Loma on their schedule 2 rounds from now.
Jeez.
What are we doing? Come on. Is that going to be like an honest mistake? That's a foul. Dish it out. Foul.
He draws the foul.
It's a bad mojo over there. Don't ever do that. Come on. If I saw that and I was like, if that was on one of like the pages, because I have access to the pages for like some of the Max Preps for Cathedral, I mean, like, oh, take that down. Take that down right now. Don't need the bad mojo. We'll see if it plays into effect. But I'll be there ready to go. It's the only time I ever like not root for the Dons is in beach volleyball and indoor volleyball. That's about it. Open playoffs today. Get excited, Frank. We'll see how it goes. I tell you what, like, I've gotten to watch. Beach volleyball is fun in general. So my friend is the coach. That's why I go to these events. The number ones for Scripps Ranch are pretty good. In fact, they've won almost every. Like there's not a lot of number one groups in beach volleyball that have beaten them this year. They're really good, and they don't have individual competition in CIF. But I think they're both going to play at the next level. They're good. They're a really good pair to watch. They're fun to watch too. But you know how beach volleyball works? You got 5 pairs against their 5 pairs. You got to win. It's like tennis where you got to win, like team tennis. It's a best of 5. So you got to win 3 of the 5 matches throughout the day, and then you win the competition for the team. But it's a cool sport. The girls' beach volleyball's in the spring. Boys' beach volleyball is in the fall, which is fun. Do you want to get your phone calls today? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Chris and Scripps Ranch joining the show today. Chris probably getting ready for OTL, which is right around the corner. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Braden? Not much. Yeah, doing a little bit of that. There's a couple tournaments coming up, too. Beer Fest is good, and May 16th down at Mariners if people want to check it out. That's a good warm-up for on back. But, hey, I was listening this morning, and I don't know if I got in the car and just going somewhere, so I thought I'd give you a call. But Fernando Tatis was being discussed, just on the 0 homers, 0 home runs so far. Have you guys talked about that yet?
We haven't talked about it a lot on our show. It was mentioned on the roundtable a little bit. And, the big thoughts were not really worried about it. And Tony Jr. mentioned that he's working on his swing. Fernando's actively working on his swing path to try to dial that in a little bit more on the fly ball loft on the line drive more than the ground ball loft on the line drive.
Yeah, I've been in, some situations where if you can kind of think of what Fernando's been doing this year, a lot of off speed, a lot of kind of front side mechanics where he's releasing. If you remember when he had shoulder issues, he'd finish with 2 hands. And if you look at his home runs in the WBC, there's actually one where it was an off-speed pitch where he finishes with 2 hands. And it could be as simple as that. And the reason why I say that is when you finish with your top hand, you usually get more of your backside into the ball. You're not shifting your weight as much. You're becoming more, still with your head. So rotationally, your bat path kind of levels off, and you have that slight uppercut to your swing. When you're seeing a lot of off-speed pitches and getting off onto your front side, you're more of a front arm swing coming down through the ball, and your back leg's just a touch off. It's not bad. It's kind of like his B swing. And I think if he just basically remembers, hey, let's finish with two hands, he'll bring the ball back into that zone and he'll allow his hips to rotate a little bit more underneath him, and his bat play is going to change just a touch. And then I think we'll see a lot of improvement. And ironically, it's like what Fernando is doing, Jake Cronenworth needs to do more of. Because Jake, think about his swing. He's always finishing with two hands, always on his backside, and he needs a little bit more athleticism in his swing and a little more frontside mechanics to level his swing off, so in the opposite direction. So they could use each other. If we could just kind of get some tips and have a hitting coach in there with the balls enough to tell him and not feel like he's stepping on anybody's toes. There's kind of a thing when you get to the big leagues, like these guys know what they're doing as hitting coaches. They don't really want to coach. And I think that's the worst thing. I know these guys think they can figure it out, but sometimes it's just as simple as finishing with two hands. And for Jake, maybe being more in his legs and releasing his top hand to allow his bat path to get through the ball and level his swing off. So I just wanted to point that out and just mention that, because you don't want to go crazy with mechanics. It's a simple, feeling, really.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. I do want to mention, I want to ask your opinion on this because we had somebody call in about it. In previous years, Fernando's had a leg kick. This year, he doesn't have a leg kick, not even really much of a toe tap either. It kind of just loads and goes. What's your opinion on the leg kick versus non-leg kick? I mean, it just seems like natural feel at this point for when you get to that level.
Well, when you do a leg kick, it forces you to load your backside hip. Okay, it kind of locks your hip when you do a leg kick. If you can think of this kid Ballesteros for the catcher, he has a huge leg kick and he really gets on his backside. I love his swing. So he forces himself almost like a pitcher to get on the backside. So he's gonna stay on his backside and release. Sometimes when you go to a no stride or just a toe tap, you got to really focus on making sure your back knee kind of has a little bend to it when you're loading. So you load that backside. Sometimes you forget, load the backside, and that could be the problem too. That's a really good point. Is he might just be missing loading his backside a little bit, which makes sense as to why he might be leaking forward and having more frontside mechanics. That totally makes sense. I didn't even think about that, and that's a possibility. But you could load your backside with a no stride. You just gotta, you should see when a pitcher starts coming towards him. If you watch the back knee of a hitter, for the load, you should see a slight bend of him absorbing that energy to his backside. Manny does it very slightly, but he's really chill, and then you'll see his back knee just kind of absorb some weight, so he's shifting his weight to his backside. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Well, Chris, it's something to look for this weekend when you watch Fernando Tatis Jr. at bats. We appreciate the phone call, man. Thanks again for chiming in on the show. God, who won the Soto trade, the National Soto trade? Not the Mets. They've lost the Soto trade multiple times. CJ Abrams goes deep for a 2-run homer. He crushed that ball. Barreled up.
You know why he crushed it?
Because he loaded on his back leg.
Sure.
I mean, that looked like a swing that Chris would approve of, for sure. It's going to be great when he's in a Padres uniform at the trade deadline.
I think anyone would approve of a swing that results in a ball going 500 miles.
Yeah, he hit that one to Yankee Stadium. And it went out at that short porch also. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It's got to Clay in the South Bay. Clay, what's going on, man?
Gentlemen, early in the season, I mean, what a great day in San Diego. Hey, there's doomers out there dooming still, and people, their hair is on fire about the current status of the team. But you know what? We're exactly where we were last April 30th. We're at 19-11. And last year, the Dodgers were 21-10. This year, they're 20-11. And the Cubs, 18-13, 19-12. And on and on and on. this year is not that much different than last year, but yet we haven't even hit our stride in actually being offensive. They've been offensive, but they haven't been offensive. But other than that, I mean, the pitching's pitching. They're keeping us in the game. I'm pretty happy with where we're at. But I would say that when they get a chance, I think Morgan ought to be going and doing some rum commercials down in AAA and try to figure out exactly what he's got going on, because he ain't getting it done. And, you know, giving up runs that you've inherited, that's not where you were sent in the game. But I know it's tough, and hopefully they'll turn it all around and Padres get some more wins, and, hey, we'll be where we were last year, if not better.
Sounds good, Clay. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, it's a good point. We were tracking that throughout the beginning part of this year because of the miserable start that they had in the first 7 games of the season. 7 games, Frank. It was all coming down in 7 games. And despite the Padres in the first 7 games going 2-5, and the Padres going 7-0 in the first 7 games last year, we're in the exact same spot that we were at this point last year. Let me just double check Clay's work. I believe it, though. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. I know Brandon and Carlsbad is trying to call in. Give us a call. We'll get you on here very quickly. So, the Padres at this point last season, let's go see on April 30th what they were. I actually just want to check the first 30 games. Yeah, 19-11. They had beaten the Giants. They swept the Giants in a 2-game series. They won 5-3. They were 19-11. Exact same spot as they were last year. They then went to 23-11 after they swept Pittsburgh and won the first game of the Yankees series. So we'll see what they do against the White Sox coming up this weekend. Maybe they can rack up some wins. Let's get to Brandon and Carlsbad. Brandon, what's going on?
Yeah, boys! You know, we're having another day, you know? The sun's out, it's spring, and we're San Diegans, you know? Frank, I'm sure you're indoctrinated by now, yeah? No.
He needs to be at this point. His Mets are letting him down anyway.
Well, I'm not even talking about sports. I'm talking about topographical environment, weather,
Yeah,
deserts, oceans.
I've lived in San Diego, I think, a year or two longer than I've lived in New York.
Yeah, you should like sunny and 75 then, buddy, not cloudy and gloomy, Eeyore.
Oh, I love it, Frank. Hey, you know what? We're all going through this wavelength together, and we want to see a little homeostasis when it comes to the Padres. Well, guess what? All the crybabies out there. Man, what are we? You guys, correct me, a little over a month through baseball, and look at our record. You know, I mean, what? Oh, dude, it frustrates me because I'm generally half full. I'll be half empty when I need to. Don't get me wrong, but holy cow! And I get it. Baseball, we're going to diagnose, analyze till the cows come home. 7 ways till Sunday, but just be comfortable. We got the talent. I like the way things are shaking out with people that you never thought of, like Ty France. You know, I don't know where everyone else is going to go when they're going to start pulling the trigger on, you know, Nick Castellanos and whatnot. But I like where we're at. I also like you said, Braden, with C.J. Abrams. You just never know. Fryer, faithful. You can't say Fryer without faithful. And you can't have a good outlook unless you are faithful. So God bless everyone's day. I'm out.
All right, see you, Brandon. Sunny and 75, Frank. If you just keep saying it, you'll start liking it.
I'm on cloudy at 75.
As long as it's not humid.
Yes, exactly. Bless you.
As long as it's not humid, I might be down for that. Frank and Rancho Bernardo, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Frank?
Hi, Braden. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey, a couple quick things. One, it looks like the Padres of late have forgot how to hit a curveball or a breaking ball. My God, they dive after that 0-2 pitch outside all the time. But I really called to talk about Jake Cronenworth. I've been watching the guy. I mean, I've been a Padre fan for years, and you know, you're not going to hit for average when you consistently are behind 1-2. He always takes the first pitch right down the middle. After a while, the other team knows he takes it. You're not going to hit pitcher's pitch very often, and I think that's his main problem. I'm not telling you he ought to swing at the first pitch every time, but when he gets a fat one now and then, he ought to lay into it as opposed to being behind all the time.
Yeah, that's somebody brought that up yesterday too, Frank, and I appreciate the phone call. That's, sometimes you got to mix it up. You can't get into a habit in any sport where you start to see early patterns. You can't do it. And he takes a lot of first pitches. I mean, you could probably go through his numbers on, what he has done when ahead in the count, when he has done 0-0 and all that stuff in his career and look at all the splits. And I could check that out for you guys in just a second. But there is something to be said about being in hitters' counts. I mean, if you go and look at Major League Baseball's overall splits, most of the time, hitters are doing really well in hitters' counts. Because they're either going to work a walk because the pitcher's nibbling some more, or he's got to give you something over the plate to not give up a free bag, and that's when you execute on a missed pitch. In terms of this year for Jake Cronenworth, Jake Cronenworth has swung at the first pitch 6 times. He has swung at the first pitch he's put the ball in play 6 times on the first pitch that he has seen. It's in 6 at-bats. He's 1 for 6 with a run scored. When he's ahead in the count, so all, hitter-friendly counts, if you will, 1-0 count, doesn't have a hit. 2-0 count, doesn't have a hit. 3-0 count, he's walked 5 times. Just great to see. When you look at other counts that he's ahead in, 2-1 counts, Jake Cronenworth's hitting 286. 3-1 counts, he has had that 8 times in the plate appearances. He's 1 for 4 in a 3-run count with a 625 on-base percentage. But you get to like any type of 2-strike counts, 083, 182, 154, full counts. He's hitting 83 on the season. After he starts 1-0, he's hitting a $194. He gets that count to 2-0, he's hitting 250. After he starts 0-1, he's hitting 113. I mean, it's a slight difference. I think those numbers too, Frank, tell you just how poor it's been for Jake Cronenworth at the plate. How about this? Okay. First pitch. Let's say he takes first pitch. He's swung at the first pitch 6 times. He's hitting a $167. It's not great. If he takes first pitch and it's a ball, it's 1-0. He goes on to hit 194 in that at bat. That's not necessarily great, but it's better than if he takes it for a strike, because then he's hitting a $113. I mean, think about that for a second. If Jake Cronenworth takes strike 1 a lot, or he takes first pitch a lot, and that first pitch is a strike, he's 1 for 53. Correction. No. He's 6 for 53 with a double. If he takes first pitch and it's a strike to Jake Cronenworth, he's 6 for 53 with 17 strikeouts. If at any point in time he gets the 2 strikes, he's got 21 strikeouts, which doesn't surprise you, because like the next strike is going to be most likely a strikeout. But that's a drastic difference. How about this for a difference? You ready for this, Frank? First pitch comes in. We got to get to break. First pitch comes in. It's a ball. His OPS is a 741. First pitch comes in. He takes it for a strike. That at bat is going to end with his OPS being a 308. It's a massive difference. I think Frank's on to something, Frank from RB, but I think it really shows that he just hasn't been very good in general, because it's not like it's drastic difference on his approach. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll get back to that pitching conversation that we were talking about earlier as we discuss the back end of that rotation. Braden Surprenant Show, Settings Number Sports Station 97 through the Fan. I know I've been teasing the pitching thing for a while, but we have a couple of minutes here, and I do want to throw this out there because I find it to be fascinating with just how dumb numbers are sometimes. So we were looking at Jake Cronenworth's splits, right? And we're doing that because Frank and Rancho Bernardo called in to talk about the whole first pitch deal. And somebody in the chat mentioned like people complain about Tatis always swinging first pitch. I'm gonna ask people the question in the chat. Do you think Fernando does well when he swings at the first pitch? Yes or no? Go ahead and give me a response. Do you think Fernando, when he swings, he's swinging first pitch? Do you think if he makes contact, the results are good or bad? Because a lot of people bitch, moan, and complain about Fernando swinging first pitch as much as people bitch, moan, and complain about Cronenworth not swinging first pitch.
I would say bad just based on law of averages.
If Fernando swings at the first pitch and he makes contact, he's 7 for 19. He's hitting .368 with an .842 on base or OPS. .842 on OPS. 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, a stolen base. So, anybody that complains about Fernando swinging first pitch, bro, when he hits the ball, he's got a pretty good chance of getting a hit. In 1-0 counts, if he swings, he's hitting .417. In 2-1 counts, he's hitting 400. In 3-1 counts, he's hitting 500. He's walked twice on a 3-0 count. Here's the part that's just dumb, though. Here's the dumb part. This is where stats get stupid. It's still an early sample size. All right, so we have the after counts, right? So if the first pitch comes in and it's ball 1, and it's 1-0, he's hitting .244. If he comes in and he takes ball 2 and hits 2-0, he's hitting .111. It's actually worse, but his on-base percentage goes up. So more times than not, he'll probably get on base. He's walked a handful of times. In fact, he's walked 6 times after a 2-0 count. But here's what's interesting to me. When Fernando falls down 0-2, after that pitch, after 0-2, Fernando's hitting .313 with a .701 OPS. He's 5 for 16 with 2 walks and 9 strikeouts. If he gets to 0-2 and then the next pitch is a ball and it's 1-2, his average drops down to a .216 after 1-2. It's better for Fernando to be down 0-2 than it is to be down 1-2, according to stats. I find it to be funny. It gets the 2-2, bumps back up to 233. That's why when you sit there and watch like those Apple TV games they used to have, when they had like the hit probability, that's why you would see numbers like that just jump off the chart all the time. Like, how is it 0-2? He's got a .313 chance of getting a hit. These are the dumb stats. The stats that don't matter. The fun but don't matter. Couple other ones for you. I saw this tweeted out. Somebody ranked the hard hit balls and the hard hit percentage for all of Major League Baseball according to Fangraphs. True or false, Fernando Tatis Jr. leads all of Major League Baseball in hard hit balls. He has had the most. True or false? True. He has 55 hard hit balls this year. The next best is Bobby Witt Jr. at 51. True or false? He has the highest hard hit percentage in all of Major League Baseball.
True.
Also true. 64.7% of the balls that he hits are hit more than 92 miles an hour. His batting average this year is .250. His slugging percentage is .286. His expected batting average, .273. His expected slug is .407. When you look at that information for Fernando, that is when you say, don't change anything. Don't change anything. You want him to continue to hit the ball hard. If it's not going over the fence, it doesn't matter. Hit the ball hard. He wants to hit home runs, maybe change his swing a little bit, but he's hitting the ball hard. He's putting the ball in play. He's not getting very lucky, but he's doing exactly what you want an athlete like him to do. And I think it was said best on the roundtable today. If he didn't have the 42 home runs, whatever it was a couple of years ago, I don't think people would be as upset about him not hitting home runs, Frank. I really don't. I don't think you could be that mad about the way Fernando is playing when he's contributing defensively, he's contributing offensively, and he is hitting absolute seeds almost every time he's up to bat.
Yeah, no, he's just gotten incredibly unlucky, as we were talking about with Xander Bogaerts last year. He has gotten just ridiculously unlucky with where he has hit the ball. And when you get incredibly unlucky, again, as I mentioned before, the law of averages, it's going to turn around at some point. So Fernando's doing everything right, just not getting the result. It'll turn around.
I think so too. He's been tweaking some things, and Tony mentioned it on the roundtable about the swing. He mentioned about how he's trying to find that right attack angle to try to add some more home runs. Obviously, it's frustrating for him, for a guy that does hit a lot of home runs, especially with the home runs he hit in the WBC and the start to the season he had in that perspective. But I think it's going to come. I think it would be way worse if he was hitting the ball soft contact and had a decent average, but nothing was hit hard and he just looked out of whack. And as Tony Jr. said on the roundtable, it makes a lot of sense, on the sense of, when Fernando's in a slump, and he's not in a slump. He's just not hitting the ball over the fence. I think you're really grasping at straws to be angry about something that's not really worth being angry over in the home run category for Fernando Tatis Jr. That's how I view it. I don't want to make drastic changes to a guy that is leading all of Major League Baseball in hard hit balls. I really don't. And for anybody, it's all about the results. Yeah, at the end of the season, tomorrow's May 1st. These are the numbers you look at to know that, hey, there's not something seriously wrong with Fernando. We did it last year. We talked about it last year. Nobody wanted to listen. We talked about it with Luis Camposano in spring training. Nobody wanted to listen. We're starting to talk about it with Fernando. At least the team is winning, and at least Fernando's not hitting a 212. He's still contributing. We need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. If you can call in and take me down in some sports trivia, you will be qualified for an opportunity to see Padres and Phillies on Memorial Day. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We're going to get to the midday sports standoff when we come back. If you could take me down in sports trivia, you would be qualified for a chance to win this month's grand prize, a pair of field level seats to Padres and Phillies on Memorial Day. We'll do that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. some like picnic team building stuff going on outside our building. We kept hearing cheering, and I know it wasn't coming from the Mets game. And Frank's like,
Why?
where is that
Again,
happiness
dude.
coming from?
Again, just like Scraby, why do you hurt me?
Why is
Why
there
do you
happiness
have to
outside?
hurt me, dude?
I don't hurt you. The Mets hurt you. You hurt yourself. Some of the memes you send me about the Mets are hysterical. I'm glad you make fun of yourself.
What else am I going to do, dude? Because if I don't do that, it's over for me.
Just cry yourself to sleep, I guess. Root for the Yankees.
Oh, no, thank you.
I mean, you could root for Aaron Judge, and then that eliminates one of your problems because then Derek will stop calling in. Like, I'm a Yankees fan now. Convert you to the dark side?
Oh.
Do I need to get like Chancellor Palpatine in here? Get you to go to the dark side?
No.
Your anger. Use it. Join the Yankees. Frank's literally like, he's like trying to work over here during a commercial break, and there's people cheering outside because they're playing like team building picnic games, if you will. They're like, they had like, I went down there, I looked, and they had, were you expecting something different than that? Did they just get swept by the Nats?
No, they won the first game, but it's even worse with the video I sent you yesterday. Is more frustrating with Steve Gelbs saying that they don't think it's Mendoza's fault, so they're not going to fire him anytime soon.
Oh,
it's
boy.
Like, thanks, dude. Really?
Yeah, it probably wasn't Alex Cora's fault, but he got fired.
It's not his fault. So then it's Stearns' fault. So then he gets fired.
Which means then Mendoza would be fired. Because then the new guy's going to want to bring somebody else in. Right? Anyway, so Frank's working on stuff, and
I thought it was the background to one of the commercials that was on air.
There was cheering going on and happiness, and Frank's like,
then the commercial ended, and I heard the same cheering and happiness.
why is there happiness? How dare you enjoy the sun outside? No, I'm just kidding. He's not that much of a curmudgeon. People were playing. They had like two like PVC pipes and a cone upside down, and they were trying to they had a ball in one of the cones. They were trying to flip it to the next group that had the cone, and somebody obviously won down there. So shout out to those people outside our building that are doing that. Shout out to whoever tries to take me down in sports trivia to try to get some field level seats for Padres and Phillies on Memorial Day. If you take me down in sports trivia today, you'll be qualified for a grand prize, which is that. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me, Mr.
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have Nick in Mira Mesa playing today. Nick, how are you, bud?
Doing good. What's up, Braden?
What's up,
Frank?
Nick? How are you doing?
All right, so this is going to be a quick one today, partly because I didn't have one ready, and this was the first one that I thought of.
Foul.
Yep, no, 100%. I'll eat that.
He draws the foul.
On June 4th, 2016, someone was traded from the Chicago White Sox to the San Diego Padres. Someone you guys know very, very well.
Oh, come on.
Who was in the trade?
There's only 3 people in that trade, right?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I said this was the first thing I thought of. I didn't have much. I didn't have.
We probably could have done yesterday's trivia question over again.
I mean, we can if you want.
I didn't hear it, so we could.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, fine then.
Because I don't remember all of them off the top of my head.
That's fine. So there were 8 players for 8 players who played at least 10 games for the Padres. that were on the 2016 Chicago Cubs World Series team. Who were they? And no, I was not busy watching that game. I was busy getting other stuff done for the show.
So I need to name all 8, or just we go back and forth?
You're going to go back and forth.
All right, Anthony Rizzo.
Yep.
Anthony Rizzo is 1.
Jason Hayward.
Jason Hayward is 2.
Chris Bryant.
He played at the University of San Diego. He was never a Padre. Not a bad guess.
Oh, he has a Padre.
Yes, but at least Padre. He has to be a Padre.
Had to have played
at least 10 games.
Had to have played at least 10 games for the Padres.
We'll give you another chance. Go ahead.
But you said he played for the Chicago Cubs World Series team?
But was on the World Series team, yes.
A player on the Cubs World Series team that has played at least 10 games for the Padres in his career.
Ross, catcher?
Yep.
Yes, correct.
David Ross. Everybody knows the David Ross.
I know. He only played 11 games.
He barely qualifies. Okay. Matt Caesar.
Correct.
We're done with the position players.
Yes, we are. It's all pitchers now.
Dang. I'm going to think of somebody.
They're mostly bullpen arms.
I know. Let's go Kastner. I don't know.
No, Andrew Kastner was not on the World Series team.
Was he on the Padres that year?
I don't remember. I'll take.
He might have been because they got him from. Well, they
got
the
him from
trade.
the Cubs. Yes.
Clayton. I learned that Clayton Richard was on that team yesterday.
Clayton Richard, correct.
Wow. I don't know, man. Let's see. Kind of think the late 2018, 19 Padres bullpen. I don't know.
You remember the play Manny Machado made at third base against the Diamondbacks? This guy was pitching during that time. He has that look on his face like, I can't believe that just happened. He used to play for the Yankees, too.
Clay Meredith? I don't know.
No. I was thinking of Adam Warren.
Yep, Adam Warren. So, Nick, you still have a chance here. There's still ability to tie. Still 2 answers left.
Yeah.
There's 2 left.
I don't know. Craig Salmon? Shoot.
No, unfortunately not. That's 3 strikes for Nick.
Are they both?
It's funny. These are the 2 that you forgot yesterday, too.
One of them is Travis Wood.
That's one of them.
What was the other one? I don't remember the other one.
TC.
Trevor Cahill? Wow,
yes.
The RBV guy.
There
or
you
Vista
go.
guy, I don't know. Hey, how about this? If Nick can say the 3 guys as part of that White Sox trade, we'll consider the tie.
That's fine. We'll go for that.
Were all 3 players traded in the trade that happened in, was that year 2016?
2016.
White Sox Padres 2016.
Oh, man. Tatis.
Yep.
All 3 players the Padres got?
No, that all 3 players in the trade. So the Padres got Tatis and one
Shields.
other, and they traded away who?
James Shields.
Okay, who's the last player?
Tatis.
Mm-hmm. He was a pitcher.
Yeah, I know. I want to say Johnson. Is there a guy named Johnson?
No. Is that what it was?
Yes. It was Eric Johnson.
We'll
give it to him.
Oh, snap.
Nick, hang on the line. You'll be qualified.
There you go.
You know, I was focusing on
the Mets losing.
No, not the Mets losing. I was focusing on getting the blog up, getting work stuff done. and it slipped my mind. And that was the first thing I thought of. And the second I saw there were only 3 names, I'm like, oh, and I don't have time. Tomorrow's though on Trevor Hoffman Day tomorrow.
Oh, happy Trevor Hoffman Day.
Tomorrow's though has been set. We've been trying to do this one for like a month now.
Great. I've forgotten about it.
To it.
I have forgotten about it already. I appreciate that. All right. That one's tough. I'm surprised nobody said Arrieta.
I know that was, and it's also funny because Scraby brought up Arrieta on Monday, so I thought everyone would have had that like fresh in their mind. And no, he was not there.
He was not there.
He wasn't there long enough.
He didn't make enough starts. How many starts did he make?
I think 4. I'm going to go back and look because there were a couple players on that Cubs team that did play for the Padres but didn't make the cut.
They had that Cubs team had a lot. There's a lot of players that ended up playing for that Cubs team, but that Cubs team had they had 2 USD Toreros.
Arrieta made 4 starts for the Padres, was 0-3 with a 10.95 ERA. Yikes.
The that Cubs team, like at a certain point in time, because they list everybody that played for that team that year.
Carl Edwards Jr. was another that didn't have enough outings as a Padre. I think he had 2 years here where he only had 1 outing.
Yeah, they had the other. He made 1 appearance for the Cubs that year. Won a World Series. Was I'm talking about somebody else.
Yeah,
was Brian Mattis, the San Diego Torero, pitched 3 innings that year.
Yes.
They just had a wonderful ceremony. He passed. We lost Brian last year, but they just retired his number.
Oh yeah,
at
that
USD.
Was yes.
Yeah, that was one of the more difficult things I've had to do in my career.
I'm sure.
I got to interview Brian once when he came back to USD a couple of years ago. We had him in the booth for about an inning, but that was tough, man. They asked me to MC the event of like retiring his jersey and his like. So they have the field set up like they would do at Petco Park. So they had like the podium and then they had like the chairs. The chairs were facing me like with the crowd so they could see the sign behind me when we unveiled it. But I made sure USD wrote a script out because we had to get that right 100%. But I was in tears at the end. It was tough.
Yeah.
You're looking at like his friends and his family and his teammates and stuff like that. And what really got me was they had a montage. They had a video montage of Brian Mattis on the video board. And in that montage, they have him talking about USD. And like that got me for sure, listening to him on the deal about how playing at USD was the greatest 3 years of his life. Yeah. And it was he's got a remarkable story, Brian Mattis. So Brian Mattis shows up at USD to be a pitcher for Rich Hill. And he told his dad that his junior year, because he was going to be draft eligible, he wanted to be the first pitcher taken in the draft. In his junior year, he was like the number 5th pick by the Baltimore Orioles and was the number 1 pitcher taken in the draft.
Wow.
Which is pretty remarkable. And it was interesting, like, so he, him and his family and stuff are there, but like, one of our colleagues here at The Fan, Nick DiNucci, he's from Baltimore. He works some events at USD. He was doing camera that day, and he was just like, dude, I used to watch Brian Mattis pitch and play when I was in high school, out there watching him play. So, he was on that team. A couple of USD Toreros on that 2016 World Series champion team. Brian Mattis gone too soon. When we come back in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll go back to our pitching conversation. We're going to be joined by USD's tennis coach. They got a big weekend tournament, the NCAA tournament they're hosting. Finish up the show with what to expect with the White Sox. 1:00 on a Thursday. That might be showing up on a "Don't Do This" maybe when like the dust settles on this information.
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
You think, huh?
Yeah. It's going on J.P. Morgan today. I don't want to get into it.
Jesus.
It's funny to watch on social media though. It's days like today that make social media so funny. Just so funny. So funny. All right. We are going to have, in the next segment, we're going to have Ryan Keckley, USD's men's tennis coach, on. They are hosting the NCAA tournament first round over at USD. They've qualified to host, which is great. Had a great year. We're going to talk to him about that in just a little bit. We've punted it almost an hour now, but we went through the pitching grades, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Walker Buehler, Matt Waldron, or German Marquez, because this is the back end that needs to be made decision-wise on this team. Now, we have determined, based on average 1 through 5 pitchers for playoff teams, we have determined that as a number 5 starter, you want to go 5 innings and give up 4 runs or less. That is what, on average, a number 5 starter for a playoff rotation does throughout the year. 5 innings, 4 runs or less. We said 3 runs or less earlier. We recalculated. It's slightly different on some of the calculations, but relatively, if you're going 5 innings and you're giving up 4 or less or 3 or less, you got a pretty good number 5. It's good enough to get you to the playoffs. So that's what you're looking for. Now, the 3 pitchers right now that are 3, 4, and 5 in your rotation, eventually only one of them is going to be your 5 if all things go right without injuries and everything like that. Now, here's the situation. Griffin Canning is expected to make another rehab start in El Paso. He's expected to be, or wherever it is. I don't know if they've listed or not. He's expected to be back sometime with the ball club next week because his rehab assignment ends on Sunday. So, when we get to that particular time, you have to take somebody off the roster, which leads us to this conversation that we were talking about earlier. In comparing Walker Buehler, German Marquez, and Matt Waldron, and their starts that they have made since April 1st. We talked about Walker Buehler. He had a rough start to the month in April. Stuff was a B, locations were an F. Overall performance, not great against Boston on April 6th. He was dominant against Colorado on April 11th. He was steady on April 17th against Seattle. He had regression at Colorado, and then he had a rebound start against Chicago earlier this week. Wasn't super off the charts, but it was a lot better than what he did in Colorado. German Marquez, disaster, April 1st. Bounce back against the Pirates, April 7th. Middling against Colorado at home, April 12th. Against the Angels, looked like peak level German Marquez with his location up and all of his other metrics up. April 26th at Arizona, a little bit of a slip. He was very, very up and down in the month of April. Matt Waldron, stuff was okay in his first start against the Angels. He was heavy knuckleball usage, very high ERA, or very high earned runs in limited innings pitched. On April 23rd at Colorado, tough course field luck. He battled out there. Stuff was a D. And then in the start against the Cubs yesterday, I thought he did just what you need somebody to do. 5 innings, 3 runs. That's exactly what you needed. It's a little sketchy, not going to lie, but most of those are. Most of the number 5 starters, outings are like that. So you have seen ups and downs out of all 3 of these guys. Unfortunately for Matt Waldron, he's only had 3 opportunities. But here's the problem, because we had somebody in the YouTube chat earlier going like, just give everybody 10 starts and that's it. You don't have the luxury to give everybody 10 starts because you have somebody coming back next week. So not a single one of these guys is going to get 10 starts before you have to make a decision, at least one of them. If you look at the trends, Buehler has shown the clearest rebound from the start of the month to the end of the month. In terms of command and location, they have all struggled against left-handers, but Buehler and Waldron have improved in their latest starts, which is good. At least they're showing improvement. German Marquez locations remain the weakest overall. Whiff and called strike whiff rate. Movement on the pitches. Buehler leads in raw whiffs when he's on, up to 32%. Called strike whiff. Marquez, velocity helps his four-seam fastball, but less swing and miss lately. Waldron's knuckleball and sweeper generate plus movement and called strike whiff percentage despite his lower velocity. Box score versus underlying numbers. All 3 of these guys show underlying better than results. Their underlying numbers are actually better than their results in their good outings. So even when they're good, their numbers look like they're even better than what they're putting out there. High numbers in terms of their stuff, all their ratings. I could bore you with the analytics, but that's the fact of the matter. All three suffered from pitching at high altitude. When you talk about their arsenal, Buehler, cutter heavy with breaking balls. Marquez, four-seam fastball, knuckle curve. Waldron, knuckleball dominant, which is distinct edge and movement profiles. And that's why he gets better grades for consistency, because of the knuckleball being rated very high. Now, in terms of ranking expected success with the Padres, Walker Buehler kind of has the highest upside and most recent positive trend. If you look at the way the months weighed out, Buehler's actually been improving a lot more than the other two when it comes to his stuff and his overall grades. His command is also improving. His cutter has been effective, and he's showing that he can still flash some of his ace level stuff. He's never going to have all of it together. He's never going to be that pitcher again, but he has the ability, and he is the best bet when it comes to volume and impact. You get to Matt Waldron. He's been the most consistent in terms of his overall metric ratings because of his knuckleball and having a unique arsenal. Obviously, it's harder to square him up when he locates his knuckleball. That's going to make him very difficult to hit. So that's why he's been the most steady, even though it hasn't looked like that in person. But he's improving locations, and it makes him a reliable depth and rotation piece. You know, a lot of the problems that Matt Waldron has had so far this season has been location more so than his like knuckleball stuff. But when you have a knuckleball, it's hard to locate. It's hard to catch. There's a lot of variables with that. And then you look at German Marquez, who has the highest velocity out of the three, but he is the most erratic when it comes to command. And recent stuff has started to decline. He got a D+ in his last outing. I don't think you can value that too much because he was pitching at high altitude in Mexico City. He's capable of dominance, but he has the highest risk of blow-up starts. So with all that information, who stays out of the three? That's the big question. And Frank, I wanted to talk a little bit about this, and most of this information I'd already given out earlier in the show. But when it comes to Walker Buehler, Matt Waldron, German Marquez, I still lean towards Walker Buehler. I think I'd rank it Buehler, Marquez, and then Waldron. I know Waldron has been the most steady so far in terms of his metrics, but in terms of my confidence level in these three, I have more confidence in Marquez and Buehler and what they have done in the past more so than anything else. All three of them have done exactly what you asked them to do and keep you in games. But when you have to make a decision on keeping these guys longer term because they're out of options, I lean more towards Buehler and Marquez than I do Waldron. And I think I lean more Buehler than Marquez because Buehler's been more consistent and he's improving his command, where German Marquez has been all over the place.
He has been all over the place, but I mean, for me, I haven't been as concerned throughout the game watching a Marquez start because he's either been good or he hasn't been. Buehler has had a couple of outings, including on Tuesday night, where it looked good and then it looked bad and then it got good again and then it started to get rough. So I would honestly, my eye test says I would give German Marquez the slight edge, but I wouldn't, like I said, I think the best place for Walker Buehler to be effective is the bullpen out of a long relief role if Kyle Hart just doesn't fit it anymore. That's where I think Walker Buehler would have the best chance to succeed with this team and Marquez in the rotation.
What I find interesting is eye test goes Marquez, Buehler, Waldron.
Yes.
And metrics say Buehler, Waldron, Marquez. Your eyes tell you Marquez is the pick. And the metrics say he's so all over the place. It's hard to like predict over the course of 162 that he's going to be the most consistent out of the group. And this is why it's difficult, because this is not a situation where you just let him play out. They have to get rid of one of these guys soon. and you got to start playing the game. So we talked about it with Scan. I don't want to lose any of these guys because you need arms. And they're obviously all better options than what you currently have in AAA. That's why they're all up here right now. But out of the three, I think Matt Waldron's the easiest to sneak through waivers right now.
Yes.
At this point with Canning coming back. Now, if Canning gets hurt because he's coming off an injury, if you got to ease him into it, maybe he's not very good. I mean, maybe you can potentially bring Waldron back. But I think you could. I don't think he's going to get picked up and then he's going to haunt you and become a 1 or 2 in the rotation anywhere. No. I thought Ben made the point very clear there on the questions. Like, does anybody think that Matt Waldron, if he's DFA'd to bring Canning on because you can't send him back down because he's out of options, on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you that he's going to get picked up by somebody and then be a number 3 or better starter on a competitive team? My fear level of that's like a 2.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't have that concern with Buehler or Marquez that they are going to be just a shutdown pitcher for a good team if you let them go. However, I would be more concerned letting them go than I would be with Matt Waldron. I don't think
they're getting picked up if you let them go.
Yeah, they would 100% get picked up, and I think they have a better chance. They have a better chance of hurting you than Matt Waldron does.
I agree, 100%. So that's where I think you get the Matt Waldron. I think that eliminates Matt Waldron from the conversation, at least as we're having this conversation. So then you have to wait. Now that gives you more data for Amon Marquez and Buehler to battle it out for when Giolito comes back. Now, Giolito has to be back. What was it, like 21 days? Is that what it was? Do you remember what it was on the initial report when they signed him? How many days he's allowed to be in the minor leagues on a rehab assignment?
I think it was 23. I think
it's in the 20s.
We're gonna have Lake Elsinore's broadcaster on Monday, so we can ask him and see the progress report on Lucas Giolito as that goes on.
It's relatively within it's 20-something days, and I think it's less than 25, and I think it's more than 20, if I can remember correctly. That puts you to the middle to end of the month of May, right? And so by that time, you're probably going to get, another 3 starts out of some of these guys, out of Buehler and Marquez? You'll have more data there. But if they continue to do what they've done so far this season, which is like really good start, not as great start, really good start, not as great start. This guy flashes for 2 games and then takes a step back. This guy has 2 rough ones and then has a really good outing. I mean, they've been both kind of up and down. Your question then comes to, because I don't think you can lose. I don't think the Padres right now are in a position to afford to lose Buehler or Marquez. But now you get into a situation where you have these guys competing with each other, right? And then you have them. Now you have to make a decision on, do you want to have a 6-man rotation? Do you want a piggyback situation? Do you put one in the bullpen? And with those questions, we're going to have answers for in just a little bit. But we have time, and right now we got to take a break because we are going to have Coach Keckley on to talk about the tennis team at USD. They qualify the NCAA tournament. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will do that on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Room Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We are the Braden Surprenant Show, Static Consumer Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. And joining us right now on the SDCCU Fan Hotline, it's not Big Bang Banking, it's better. He is the head coach of the USD men's tennis team, who is now qualified for the NCAA tournament. And not only that, it's 2 straight seasons they are hosting the first and second round regionals for the USD Toreros. They hosted for the first time in program history last year in 2025, set an attendance record at the Skip and Sidney Hogan Tennis Center, looking to re-break that record this year. And to preview the weekend of tennis in the NCAA tournament here in America's finest city, we bring on their head coach. His name is Ryan Keckley. He joins us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. Coach Keckley, what's going on?
Hey, Braden, how you doing, man?
Doing well. This will be the first time that I've watched you guys play. I watched you guys play last year in Tucson, Arizona against the Arizona Wildcats when I was out there with USD Baseball. It's kind of fun to be out there and watch the USD baseball team cheer you guys on. We didn't know where to go. We were just kind of walking around, standing on the court, hopefully not getting in your way. But it was a fun time last year watching you guys participate.
No, I remember that. We were supposed to go and support the baseball team after our match, but we had a 2-hour practice afterwards because our match was so short.
It's always fun, though, when you see the universities supporting each other out there in the different sports. And USD does a really good job with that. But, Coach, you're in the right to host again. Now the path to the first Sweet 16 maybe in program history runs through San Diego. What does this mean for the program to have that opportunity on your home courts?
Yeah, it wasn't the season we expected, but it's the season that we got. I think it's always interesting, especially when you've been here for 11 years. You almost try to separate the seasons by giving different themes or by having different expectations, because it can start to kind of bleed into one. But returning a lot of the juniors from last year, almost all of the juniors, and some obviously some very good tennis players, we were expecting high results. We took a hit to Oklahoma State, took a hit to Santa Clara, took 2 hits to Arizona State, took a hit to UCLA after having match points. And all of a sudden we're sitting there middle of the season. We're like, man, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were going to be. We really focused on our development. We focused on the progress. We actually took the thought process of hosting out of our heads to alleviate a little bit of the pressure, and just focused in on development and the culture and our fundamentals. And some good things happened. We put together 10 of the 11 wins over the course of the last 11 matches. And obviously it's an honor to host. When I first got here in 2015, this was a pipe dream. This was something that I was always trying to accomplish because I wanted to get out of UCLA and USC's way. And here we are now hosting USC and UCLA back-to-back years. So the roles reversed. So I'm hoping the community shows up, with light blue colors on and support the boys and create an incredible atmosphere, that everybody can be proud of.
Already beat UC Santa Barbara earlier this season. NCAA tournament matches are obviously a different animal. What makes the Gauchos such a dangerous first-round opponent?
I'll tell you, we went up there in February, and we were a point away from losing that match, if I'm being honest. So this is a team that I respect tremendously. The head coach does a wonderful job developing. He had his number 1 player, number 3 player made the NCAA singles championships this year. So they're dangerous at the top. They always coach fantastic doubles. But the nice thing is we got them on our home courts, and the competitive advantage is ours now, rather than playing up in Santa Barbara in front of 400 fans, the Bryan brothers, and a marching band. So, the program does an incredible job, and I'm really looking forward to the fireworks come, 1:30, 2 p.m. on Friday.
We're talking about Ryan Keckley. He's the head coach of USD men's tennis. They got an NCAA tournament, first and second rounds being hosted here at the University of San Diego. Big match coming up over the weekend, obviously with Santa Barbara, but your team has won 12 its last 13. Ali Tarvit is playing some of his best tennis of the year. How would you describe the confidence and the mindset of this group heading into this tournament?
Yeah, I was just talking to that with the coaching staff. Obviously, winning a match in the WCC championship like we did against Pepperdine, that brings the team a lot of confidence, and it brings the team together. I always say there's winning solves everything, and that certainly does. So I would say we're pretty confident with our doubles and very confident in certain slots. going into the weekend. And we'll see how a lot of tennis has to do with how we match up. But I like the way we look against Santa Barbara, and we'll see how ASU and UCLA plays out. But I do think this group is ready, and I think the experience from last year hosting, I'll tell you, Braden, man, we had 300 people out to our warm-up against UC Irvine last year in the round of 64. These guys were playing practice points, and they were looking around. I could see kind of the fear and glazed over in their eyes. And so we've had some meetings to discuss this, especially for the newcomers, that this is the first time experiencing this. It's just different when you play in front of 700 people versus, maybe our usual suspect crowd of 100, 150, on a good day, 250. So yeah, it's going to be nerve wracking, but hopefully we can shake off some of the nerves early on and just be ourselves and play free.
When you look at this roster from top to bottom, what makes this team capable of making a deep NCAA tournament run?
Our doubles on the year, I believe, is 23-4. And that's a crucial point. There was a study that was done that 65% of the time, if you win the doubles point, you win. And so it's a competitive advantage that we have. We have one of the best tennis players in the country under Oliver Tarvett. He made a run at Wimbledon last year, facing off against Carlos Alcaraz on center court. Round 2. So I feel confident with him versus anybody in the country. Stian Klausen's at 3. He is a super senior. It's his 5th year. He's getting his master's. And 2 seasons ago, he didn't lose a match. This guy's playing with a ton of confidence right now too. So I think we have the leadership in order to make a splash. And I think we're deep towards the bottom of our lineup, our 5 and 6 slot. I mean, they have a ton of confidence right now, just the way they've been playing and the way they've been developing. So, and we'll see how the freshmen handle. Bobby Knight used to say, get old and stay old. And I'm a big believer in that. And unfortunately, it's just impossible with this. Well, it's not impossible with college athletics these days, but for this team that we have, it is. So hopefully the newcomers can go out there and perform to their abilities, even with the pressure at hand.
Ryan Keckley, head coach of USD men's tennis. They're hosting an NCAA tournament over the weekend. For everybody that might be interested in attending this weekend, what's the best way and what should they expect to see when they come out to support you?
A lot of noise. Historically, traditionally, tennis has been a quiet sport. The quiet clapping in between. That is anything but college athletics and especially college tennis. And one thing that we've tried to do, Braden, when I got here in 2015, we were getting, a shrimp cocktail amount of fans out to the facility. So one of the things I decided to do is we had to create a different kind of energy and atmosphere to make it more enticing and exciting for the younger crowds. And that's exactly what we've done. It's almost more of a soccer game with the chanting and the cheering than it is anything else. It's loud. It's so loud that the neighbors don't always appreciate us. But you can expect a lot of energy. You can expect a lot of passion. And you can expect some damn good tennis. Ali Tarvett's ranked 350 in the world. And I think the price tag of admission is $6.50, which is the first time we've charged all season due to the NCAA. But it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a rowdy, fun event. I'm really excited for it.
Looking forward to it this weekend, Ryan. Thanks again for joining us. Good luck this weekend, and hopefully we get you on when you guys are playing deeper into the tournament.
Love it, Braden. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you.
Ryan Keckley, head coach of the men's tennis program at the University of San Diego, joining us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. We got to take a quick break. We'll put a recap on what we have talked about today, Padres-wise, as we look forward to tomorrow, Padres and White Sox, a new series, a new opportunity, a new month for this Padres team. We'll recap what we have seen in the month of April when we return on the Braden Surprenant Show, Setting Number Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Coming up on Friday's show, get you a weekend preview. Padres, White Sox, San Diego FC back in action. Drake Hills will join the show. There's still time to cheer on the Padres at Petco Park, America's #1 ballpark, on Thursday, May 7th at 7:10 when the Padres host the Cardinals. First 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a flamethrowing Mason Miller bobblehead presented by Cox. Whether he's shutting down batters or throwing an immaculate inning, Miller always brings the heat with his fastballs. Don't wait to secure your tickets. Visit Padres.com/tickets. The St. Louis Cardinals are in town next week. We do have to give away tickets to that. Do we not? All right. I got to do that in right now. Here's what we're going to do. Try to make it a fun Cardinals trivia question. Let me see if we can find something real quick. St. Louis Cardinals trivia question would be pretty good. Here's one for you. What was the original name of the St. Louis Cardinals? What was the original name of the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team? First one to call in and correctly identify what the name of the original St. Louis Cardinals was, you will win tickets to Padres and Cardinals. Pair of tickets to Padres and Cardinals, May 7th. First 40,000 in attendance will receive a free Mason Miller bobblehead. Tickets at Padres.com/tickets. What was the original name of the St. Louis Cardinals? Do I need to write on the sheet for you? You got it.
That would be nice just to confirm.
All right. It's going to be at the top of the sheet where it says topics of the day. First one to do that wins tickets today. All right. I'll let Frank deal with that. Have fun. There's going to be a lot of calls there because I forgot. You know what though? As somebody that had to do that before, it's better than giving away tickets right before the end of the show.
Yes, it is. It's a lot better than that. All right. Off to the phones I go.
All right. What was the original name of the St. Louis Cardinals is today's trivia question. First one to call in and get it correct wins the tickets today. So Frank is trying to get that settled. All right. So to go back to our previous conversation about the pitching rotation, and we've talked about this a lot today. You get to a situation where they're going to have to sneak. I think they're going to have to sneak Matt Waldron through waivers. And after that, you have to make a decision on what you want to do with Walker Buehler. You have to make a decision on what you do with Herman Marquez, and then what you're going to do with Lucas Giolito comes back. That's the first. I mean, there's another potential problem down the road with Phil Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. But until we get to that point, I think you have to lock into the situation of just Lucas Giolito coming back. What does that do for Herman Marquez and Walker Buehler? And I think you have a couple of options here. I think you go to a 6-man rotation. But as Chrisella mentioned today, that limits your ability to have Michael King pitch every 5th day. Now he's pitching every 6th day. Same thing with Randy Vasquez. And so instead of having your better pitchers pitch more often, you have more quote-unquote mediocre pitchers pitching. You have more mediocre pitchers pitching more often than you have the elite guys.
We have a winner.
Who is the winner?
Joel and San Marcos.
Joel and San Marcos. What was the original name of the St. Louis Cardinals? Professional baseball began in St. Louis with the inception of the Brown Stockings in the National Association in 1875. Browns or Brown Stockings is the correct answer to the St. Louis Cardinals. How about that? I like Cardinals better.
I do too.
We're the Brown Sox. Huh. I guess it's better than the brown undergarments. It just asks for problems.
Okay.
It just asks for problems.
Yeah, I wouldn't say brown undergarments.
Well, that's kind of gross.
Yeah, you're the one that said it.
That's right. Well, you know what? Maybe the Mets got to change their name to that based on the way they've been playing. I'll take the foul.
Why do you guys
I'll take the foul.
Everyone hates me. Why?
He draws the foul.
No, I think it's fun to make fun of the Mets. It's just unfortunate that you happen to be a Mets fan on top of that. This is not a Frank thing. This is just, it's fun to make fun of the Mets. Nobody enjoys making fun of the Mets more than Frank Marchese does. You enjoy it. It's the same thing with my other friend that was a Met. My friend Bradley's from New York. That is a Mets fan. Just acts the same as you.
My condolences.
Yeah, my sister's ex-boyfriend acts the same as you. They all Mets fans act the same, and then there's Frank the Tank, who just goes above and beyond.
Like I said before, David Stearns. To be fair to him.
To be fair,
why sign Pete Alonso when his contract could stink when he could stink in 4 years?
And his contract.
When you could just sign players who stink now.
And his contract stink now. All right, so while you were dealing with that, I was laying out the options. You could go 6-man rotation. You can DFA either Buehler or Marquez. Now, we're gonna pretend like we're in this world where during the next couple of weeks, one of them doesn't completely go into the tank. That makes it easy. Or you could do a piggyback situation. I don't mind that third option, but when Lucas Giolito comes back, assuming that you have tried to sneak Matt Waldron through waivers to get Canning part of this rotation, at that point you would have King, you would have Vasquez, you would have Canning, Giolito, and then one more. Do you go with a piggyback starter for number 5, knowing that that is not really your bullpen day at all? Does that make sense? Like, you're going to split that game into 2. There's going to be 2 pitchers that day. It's going to be player X, player Y, and then maybe you have one guy in the bullpen that's an emergency. If you do it like that, I know you're technically carrying one less bullpen arm, but shouldn't your bullpen be a little bit more fresh, knowing that that day they're not going to be used at all, Frank? I don't mind the piggyback situation, to be honest with you.
No.
Do you have Walker Buehler start a game and Herman Marquez finish the game? Do you have Walker Buehler just be the guy that is the piggyback man, but you just have him start instead? And then you have somebody else take over for him and put Herman Marquez. I mean, it revolves around somebody going to the bullpen, but you could still make him a starter. To me, Walker Buehler starting the game seems pretty good because he's done well in the first couple of innings where Herman Marquez has not. But Walker Buehler has some time as a bullpen, like coming out of the bullpen every once in a while. Like he's done it before. I know he doesn't want to, but I think opinions change if that's either that or not be here anymore. I think a piggyback situation with Buehler and Marquez or whoever you want to pair together might be the solution if you're trying to keep as many people part of the organization as possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And that's also a way to get around, sending, say, Kyle Hart down or whoever for as a long reliever. You just have Buehler go, basically be an opener, get through the lineup one time, and then it's Marquez or whoever comes in after that. I would not be opposed to that at all, honestly.
I mean, if Marquez gives you Marquez has been giving you 5 almost every time, has he not? I mean, even 6 a couple of times.
If Buehler gives you 2 2.2/3, 3 innings, and then Marquez gets you to the 8th inning, gets you to the 7th or 8th inning, that's best case scenario, I think, in that case.
I mean, if you think about it from this perspective, let's just say Marquez consistently has given you 5 or 6 innings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like his first outing was a clunker. He gave you 3, but then 5 2/3, 6. He's been up and down with the 4 runs, no runs, 4 runs, no runs, 4 runs.
Yeah, he's been incredible.
But to be honest with you, if he starts your game as your number 5 starter, right, then he's doing his job, 5 runs, 4 innings. And then you have Walker Buehler come in and pitch the next 3, right, which would be like one time through the order, roughly. He's been good first time through the order. Then you get to 8 innings, and then you have one bullpen arm close the game out. If you need to. I mean, maybe you rake that day. And maybe Walker Buehler's got better stuff. He goes 4 innings, and you're going 5 from Marquez and 4 from Buehler. I honestly think that's probably the best of both worlds if you're trying to keep everybody part of this rotation.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. I would not mind seeing those two piggybacking off of each other. It'll be more, that's more of a question for when Giolito comes back, because you can maybe send, if, as we mentioned earlier, Morgan's kind of the odd man out in the bullpen right now. He's the one that's slumping. He's the one that giving up hits and runs. If you send down Morgan instead of Kyle Hart, you can have the 5-man rotation with Lucas Giolito in the rotation. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all.
Now, here's the problem, though, with that, because you do have to take a bullpen arm off if you're going to do that, because theoretically you still have 6 starters, right? So you have the 6 start. You have to take somebody out of the bullpen. And right now, you already have Yuki Matsui that has to come back. You already have to make that move first. Is that move already David Morgan? Or is that move Kyle Hart? That move is coming soon too, right? Like, we're talking about the rotation, and yes, the rotation's difficult, but if you decide to go to a situation where you want to keep all 6 of these guys, and again, this is all assuming before somebody tries to just rain on our parade of fun baseball conversation. This is all assuming nobody gets hurt and there's nothing that already plays its way out. But now, you have to put somebody off of the bullpen right now out of Marinaccio, Hart, Rodriguez, Peralta, Morgan, Adam, Morejon, Miller. That's your current bullpen. You're carrying 8 guys, right? One of them has to go for Yuki Matsui. So out of those guys, who is it going to be? Morgan? You going to carry 4 lefties back there? Maybe. I think it's probably going to be Hart over Morgan. As of right now, and you're bringing a lefty back, I mean, I don't know who becomes your long relief, but we have to make a decision here. Is it Morgan or is it Hart, Frank?
I would say right now, I would say Morgan, but Hart probably would be the more likely one to go, so you're not loading up the bullpen with lefties.
Do you DFA Marinaccio now, or do you wait?
I wait. You have other options.
Okay, so who are you going with? Morgan?
I would personally do Morgan right now, but I think the Padres would do Hart first because too many lefties.
Let's go Morgan. because you don't have a long relief if you don't do if you
Right.
if you don't do Hart. So let's do Morgan. So that's the first time through. Now you get to a situation. Estrada's back. Now who do you drop? Then is it Hart? You still don't have a long relief guy anymore.
Probably would be Hart.
But I guess it would be Kyle Hart.
I mean,
Yuki Matsui, I guess, could be like your couple innings, I guess.
They've also been using Marinaccio as kind of like, all right, game's out of control. Go out there till your arm falls off.
And he did that on opening day.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes out there and gives you 2. Do you really care if he goes a third inning or whatever at that point?
No. If the game's out of control, throw Marinaccio out there for 40.
Right. I guess you could do that. So at this point in time, now you have the bullpen has Matsui in it and Estrada. So you have Miller, Morejon, Adam, Matsui, Peralta, Rodriguez, Marinaccio, and Estrada. Then you go with now here's the situation. Now you get to the Lucas Giolito situation. You want to go with the piggyback. Now you have to drop one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Are you DFAing Marinaccio now? Or by that time, does Bragley Rodriguez come back down to earth and you can option him down? Let's say Bragley Rodriguez is just going to continue on a tear by that point.
Is he doing better than Marinaccio? If that's the case, then
is Bragley doing better than Marinaccio? Yeah, in this situation,
it's whoever's doing better. I think at that point, if it's Marinaccio, then Bragley goes down. If Bragley's doing better, then I think you're going to cut ties with Marinaccio.
If Bragley comes back down to if Bragley is not that much better than Marinaccio by that time, I think you play the options game. But if he is significantly better than Marinaccio like he currently is, and again, he's young, they don't have a lot of tape on him. We saw that with Morgan last year, right? I mean, eventually they're going to make an adjustment to him, and he's going to have to make an adjustment back. Can you afford to, at that point, if he does that after Marinaccio, who you bringing up from AAA to fill out the bullpen, right? So I think from that point, the question is either Bragley Rodriguez or Marinaccio. I mean, Marinaccio's numbers aren't jumping off the page either. So it's not like he's solidified himself in this bullpen.
No, the only reason why he's solidified right now is because he doesn't have options. And there are other guys that have options.
And he looked better out of the group that didn't have options compared to everybody. Out of the group, so I guess you could always bring up Alec Jacob and stuff too. They've already done that. I mean, Marinaccio this year is a 5.40 ERA. He's been okay. I mean, he's done kind of what you ask him to do. So now
he's also another one of those guys. He's never really in like high leverage situations, and he's usually the guy that's getting asked to wear it the way Wandy Peralta really was that guy last year.
Marinaccio this year
is the wear it guy.
2 runs, no runs, no runs, no runs, no runs. 1 run, 2 runs, no runs, 1 run. It was the bad day in Arizona. By that time, the game was already out of hand. He gave, and honestly, you can't throw out certain outings, but that's like a Coors Field special most of the time. I mean, there's high scoring events in that deal.
Yeah, like we threw out Wandy's outing in New York last year,
right? Because it was ridiculous. Now, he bounced back against Chicago, even though they lost 8-3. He went 2 innings, 1 hit. So that becomes the question of, do you have Buehler and Marquez piggyback at the expense of maybe Bragley Rodriguez going down or Marinaccio getting cut? Like, that's kind of where you're at. If nobody gets hurt and if everything stays status quo. But these are the decisions. Because I think it's easy to just be like, oh, we'll just have him do a piggyback situation and carry 6 starters. Well, now you have to affect the bullpen. You can't just say, when you start laying out who has to go, the bullpen starts becoming difficult conversations. But you know what? These are all good conversations. This is all good news for the Padres because you have players that you don't want to see on other teams right now, which adds to the depth that this team has. And we're not even talking about the guys in AAA that are on a clock that can opt out because of their rights that they have because of Tommy, like the Mirandas of the world down there in AAA or anything like that.
Forgot Alex Verdugo was a part of this organization.
Right. He signed him. I don't think he's got.
No, I'm just saying, but like
yes,
that's a name that's here.
There's a lot of those guys down there in AAA. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Get you a preview of the White Sox, San Diego FC talk, Drake Hills, so much.